Murray Henderson, Alex Smith, Mike Hamilton, Lee Harris, Phil Weed, and Liam Jensen.
Well done, Matthew. Well done, mate. Good job, innit?
Ladies and gentlemen, these open shearers, they will be shearing 6 competition sheep. For shearers here have recorded a sheared tally of over 405 sheep in an 8-hour day. I think we have about 14 heats of shearers and we're looking for the top 30. The sheep are kindly supplied by Hikurangi. But a big congratulations to Callum Pritchard and Alice Rees for winning their junior and intermediate titles. Hopefully Alice Rees learns how to take the back socks off.
So welcome back, and we thought, why not strike while the iron's hot?
Yeah.
I'm really lucky to have in the studio here with us at the moment Callum Pritchard, a good man from Pongaroa, and our intermediate shearing champion, sponsored by Trust House. So Callum, this is amazingly great, eh?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to get it this year, so it was pretty intense, pretty hard.
It looked pretty intense. You've been working hard through the season, though. I've seen you coming up quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been working, finally out of school, out of uni anyway,
Yeah.
doing some real work anyway now, so.
And so how did it feel up there to finally crack this
I
one?
was pretty stoked, yeah. Usually the last three or 4 years, I never made the semi, so
Yeah.
pretty stoked, yeah, to win it, so.
It's pretty special, especially on the 60th birthday, eh?
Yeah, definitely a huge celebration for it, and the turnout and everyone that's put it together has been a pretty good show.
That's right. So is there any special messages you want to give to the people of Pongaroa or to the family?
Oh, I'm just hoping I won the intermediate, so I'm hoping Dave wins the open.
Yeah.
That's about all.
Okay, so that's good. Short, sharp, focused goals, eh?
Yeah.
Callum, who's your biggest mentor?
Oh, probably the old man, but there's so many of them, so I couldn't probably name them all.
Oh, well, just as well you named your father.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, all I can say is congratulations on behalf of Golden Shears. That was a fantastic effort. It was certainly not an easy shear out there. It was pretty tight all the way through by the looks of things.
Yeah, definitely. Especially changing the handpiece halfway through, and then
Yes.
luckily it went better than the first one, so I'm pretty stoked with that.
Oh, well, luck's on your side. All the very best for the rest of the year, Callum.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's no reason why we won't see points around that 23-24. Just while we're waiting, can we please have the next 6 shearers to the foot of the stairs, please? Murray Henderson, Alex Smith, Mike Hamilton, Lee Harris, Phil Weed, and Liam Jensen. Can you look away at the foot of the stairs? We do thank you for your cooperation. We have 12 heats of open shearers, so you need to be ready to rock and roll. We don't want you looking from the back of the stadium. Thank you.
Well, the referee is in stand number 1. He's just in there. The shearer is just asking him if they can probably change a sheep. Something might be quite dusty in the back. Something might have blue eyes. I might have looked at him funny. But we have the green light. Down the back of the stadium, there's a green light that we wait to see. And then we wait for the thumbs up from our referee, and we have it. Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first one of the Bailey's Open Shearing Elimination Heats. We're taking the top 30 shearers. We have about 14 heats, so we have shearers to burn at the moment. First one into the undermine. It looks like it's young Alexander from Stratford down there on stand number 4. 2 blows and he'll step up the neck. We've got Ricky Alabaster just giving a little wee bit more tension down there on stand number 2. Sean Burgess, a little wee bit of a wriggler. These are big, strong ewes, ladies and gentlemen. So these sheep will take a fair bit of handling. Dion Morell, Alexander there on stand number 3, working his way around the head. But it's the Alexander down there on stand number 4. Long blow time for him. He's about to turn to the last side, 46 seconds. So we're expecting these shearers to be shearing these sheep in, well, under a minute really, isn't that right, Kerry?
Yeah, well, if it's not under a minute, it'll be hardly anything over. Under the final shoulder and down and out the flank, Darren Alexander leading the way in this first of the qualifying heat, ladies and gentlemen. I think 13 or 14 heats we are looking at. What a fantastic crowd. What a fantastic competition. And we have got a fantastic line of shearers for you this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, in this open field. Ricky Alabaster, sheep 2 on the board for him. Darren Alexander, Dion Morell, all in there for sheep 2. Sean Burgess, down and out the flank he goes. Come on, Sean, keep the pressure on, my man. Into the pin he goes. Ricky Alabaster, tie happy boy he is. Down the first leg, undermine time for him. Dion Morell, he's been here, he's done it before. He's the master shearer, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very good merino shearer. Fantastic crossbred shearer. Very, very talented guy. Up the neck he goes. Breaks the neck will open, takes the cheek will, but it's still the boy on 4 at the moment. Around the shoulders and down and into the long blow he goes. Tyson Hemmer down and into the long blow he goes. Stephen Hansen down there on 6. Works his way around the shoulder, drops down as well. All these shearers right there with each other. Ricky Alabaster down and over the brisket he goes. Maybe just a whisker or 2 in the lead at the moment. 6 competition sheep in the pen for these shearers. Down and out the flank he goes. 15 heats of this, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be looking for the top 30. The top 30 shearers will go through to the evening event. And there's going to be some very, very good shearers miss out. And as I said, it's going to be no fault of their own. But we have got some world record holders. We've got master shearers. We've got some incredibly fantastic, talented shearers on display, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best shearing event in the world. They come from all around the world to shear here. And I'll tell you what, if this what heat 15 is going to look like, we've got some fantastic shearers going through that top 30.
I might just jump in there too, if that's okay. Sorry, buddy. All right, we'll get this pressing going. This is the first of the semi-final of the top 8 individual men's pressing. They will be smoking it, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got lots of action up the front. You're going to have lots of action at the back. We're on press 1. We've got Cameron Hicks from Martin, okay? The target weight is 160 kgs. And we've got the smiling assassin, Jimmy Samuels, also from Martin on press 2. On that case, presses are ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go. Thanks, Tuma.
Well, thank you, Gerald. Just watching these shearers, I got a little bit hypnotised by this young man on stand number 2, Ricky Alabaster from Tie Happy. He throws another one out, runs and grabs another one. That's how it rolls in the shearing sheds, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as you finish one sheep, you get in the pen and you grab another one. We've got Steve Hansen down there on stand number 6. The tall figure down there reaches in. That makes that sheep look like a little wee lamb. But these sheep look like they're shearing well from here. A lot of the shearers previously reckon that they're quite dry cutting, which makes it a little bit hard in there. But all these shearers are very, very experienced. You don't get into the open class by watching. It's something that you have to experience, and it takes many, many years. Some of these shearers have probably been shearing for 40 odd years, and then you'll get guys like Steve Hansen, probably been doing it about 12 to 15. So round the head works the Alexander. He's chasing the Alabaster. That's here on stand number 2.
Up and round the shoulders they go. Sean Burgess down in here on stand number 1. Sheep 4 on the border. 6 competition sheep this year for these boys, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky Alabaster down and out the flank he goes. We've seen Ricky change his gear. I wonder if he was happy with his cut. I'm just thinking that he might want to try out his second comb. Into the pen he goes. For his 5th sheep, ladies and gentlemen, Dion Morel. Under the final shoulder and down and out the flank he will go. Darren Alexander, down and out the flank he goes. Young Tyson Hemmer down there, stand 5. Up the undermine he goes. Leading the field at the moment. Breaks the neck wall open. Takes the cheek wall and he'll work his way around the shoulder. Steve Hansen, stand number 6, ladies and gentlemen. Up the neck he goes. Breaks that neck wall open. Takes the cheek wall and around the shoulders he goes. Dion Morel. Sheep 5 on the board for him. Down the belly he goes. Breaks that belly wall open. Takes the trimming on the top of the leg and down the first leg he goes. 1, 2, 3, and those big undermine shots will come into play. Bang, bang, and take the top knot. And up the neck he goes. Ricky Alabaster. Down and over the brisket he goes. 6 minutes gone, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are shearing these sheep in just a bit over a minute. Down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches there. Sheep number 5. Tyson Hemmer down there, stand number 5. Into the pen for his 6th and final sheep. Finishing touches for him. Into the pen, Ricky Alabaster. Sean Burgess down and into the long blow he goes. Sheep 5 on the board for him. Dion Morel under that final shoulder and down and out the flank. Dean Alexander. Finishing touches for him on sheep number 5. Tyson Hemmer. Up the neck he goes. Breaks that neck wall open. Takes the cheek wall and works his way around the shoulder. Takes the trimming on the back side of the leg and down and into the long blow he goes. Ricky Alabaster, tie happy boy he is. Up the neck he goes, breaks the neck wall open, takes the cheek wall, work his way around the shoulder. Under the final shoulder will go young Tyson Hemmer, down and over the flank he goes. I'll let you bring him home, Tama.
Tyson Hemmer, the young man from Waipukaro. It's in the Hawke's Bay. A lot of sheep there, a lot of big lazy sheep because there's a lot of flat country. So he's used to shearing these big sheep as this young man Hemmer down there on stand number 5. Time is taken by Steve Hansen. He's from Ekatahuna, just down the road, and Tyson's about to get his time taken as well. So these guys are shearing them in about 8 minutes. I think that might be a little bit slow. But we've got farmers up there. We've got Ricky Alabaster. He's a farmer. He doesn't do a lot of shearing. We've got contractors up there and Dion Morel. So down the last side with these shearers, they're going to have the last say. Dion Morel, he's absolutely polishing those sheep. It's the lower the points, the better. When you look up on the big screen, ladies and gentlemen, there's a page in the program, page 20, and it gives you a bit of a rundown on how the scoring system works. Norm.
Thanks, Tom. Well done, guys. So
It's amazing you know how to work on these gadgets.
yeah. Number 2, need to take the board on stand 6. We'll have Liam Jensen, Phil Weed on 5, Lee Harris on 4, Mike Hamilton on 3, Alex Smith on 2, Murray Henderson on stand number 1. Those guys can hop up now, please.
All right, thanks very much, Norm. Until you get the green light, we'll stay down here, 5 minutes and 25 seconds these 2 open shearers have been pressing. So great athletes, great sportsmen. They will see their names very soon in a heated 2 up here. So hence they're getting the pressing out of the way before they jump up on that board and represent themselves really well as open shearers as well. Here goes Jimmy Samuels. One big armful, get that in there. the long limbs of Mr. Hicks. Cam says, I'll just sweep that wool away with those big long fingers of mine. Jimmy says, holy smoke, I'll try the same. Using the arms to push the wool in, get it nice and tight. You'll see Jimmy points of contact up as he climbs up there. He's looking for 160 kgs. That is a whole lot of pressure in a bale. You've got to really squeeze it in. This bale has some serious bounce back, okay? Now, it sucks the energy out of you. It is very much like running up some sand dunes, dry sand dunes, and the sand keeps going away from you, okay? It just sucks the life out of you. And you'll see Jimmy, the smiling assassin here, doing the corners. You got to do the corners. See the points of contact on the way down. That's what the judges are watching out for. Cam said, well, I can make lots of points of contact all over the press with my big long limbs, as he starts winding it up, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, where my co-commentator's talking to Snow Harrison, who's come up all the way from Invercargill. He doesn't need a lot of introduction. And we got the green. Okay, I'll put it back over to Kerry and Tuma.
Thank you, Gerald. Just waiting on the thumbs up from the referee. There's always someone that wants to test the referee. We got the thumbs up. Timekeeper's ready. Shearers, get set, go.
Away they go. So heat number 3 need to make their way towards the foot of the stairs, please, before the end of this heat. There'll be Lane McSkimming, Eli Cummings, Shane Ireland, Dion King, Corey Salmon, and Blair Wright. If you Shearers just wander over to the foot of the stairs, please, so you're ready. And take us through it, Tuma.
Yeah, thank you, Gerald. Okay, we have Murray Henderson on stand number 1. Murray Henderson doesn't do a lot of shearing nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. He owns a furniture shop, a carpet shop in Fielding. And he is the second highest seller of woolen carpets in the North Island. So that's Murray's way of giving back to the industry. You know, he used to have a crutching trailer, and then he had a little bit of a shearing run, and now he's got his shop. So he's really giving back, because this wonderful fibre that's coming off these animals, it's got to be worth something. It's a little bit sad because they're only getting not even $2 a kilo for that main line, and yet you still pay $50 for a pair of Northwest socks. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. And we've got Alex Smith on stand number 2 from Rakaya. Alex has been up here, no stranger to the stage in the North Island. Great to see him back. We've got Mike Hamilton working his way down the last side. Kerry.
Heat number 2 we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have 15 heats of these open boys. We are looking for that top 30. There will be some very, very good shearers miss out, ladies and gentlemen. And it's probably, to be fair, it's going to be no fault of their own. But the problem is the quality and the high standard that these open guys will bring. It's just a credit to them. It's a credit to the industry, and it's a credit to the sheep in the Wairarapa. It takes beautiful shearing sheep to make points out the back of 1, 2, or even less. Down the first leg goes Mike Hamilton, sorry. Down in under the mine and takes the top knot, and he'll step and break the neck will open. Full wed. Down there on stand 4, up the neck he will go. Liam Jensen down there on stand number 6. Works his way around their shoulder. Takes a trimming on the 4th side of the leg and down and into the long blow in this Open Bailey Shearing qualifying heat, ladies and gentlemen. Down and out the flank goes Murray Henderson. He was a finalist here last year. The question is he able to make that top 30 again? Give himself the chance to make that final once again. Very, very good share of the boy on 1, but it isn't going to be enough this year. You can't just be a good shearer. You have to have an exceptionally good shear. Down the first leg he goes, beautiful under mine. 1, 2, and he'll take the top knot, step up and break the neck will open. Alex Smith, the boy from the Rikaya. Very, very good little up-and-coming shearer in the South Island. Breaks the neck will open. Great to see these boys up here at the Golden Shears going toe-to-toe with the North Islanders, going toe-to-toe with some of the shearers from various countries throughout the world, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Harris, the boy from Australia, into the pen he goes. Bit different to what these boys traditionally shear in Australia. These crossbreds, not many wrinkles on these sheep. Down and out the flank goes the boy on one, leading the way at the moment. Fishing touches for him. Sheep number 3 on the board. Into the pen for sheep 4. Change a handpiece. We will see this many a time. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 4 on the board for him. 6 competition sheep in the pen to shear, ladies and gentlemen. This is heat number 2. Phil Wedd. Into the pen he will go. Sheep number 4 on the board for him. Lee Harris up and round the shoulders he works. Takes the trimming on the fourth side of the leg and round and down into the long blow he goes. Mike Hamilton, the boy on 3. Under the final shoulder and down and out the flank he will go. Alex Smith, the young fella in the field. I think second might be his first year in the Open. I think first or second anyway. Up the neck he goes. Around the shoulders and takes the trimming on the fourth side of the leg. Takes the trimming and down and into the long blow he goes. Liam Jensen down there on stand number 6. Works his way round that sheep and down the belly he will go. Phil Webb under the final shoulder and down and out the flank he will go. Sheep number 4 on the board for these boys. Under the final shoulder, Lee Harris still on 3. Down the offside of the sheep goes Murray Henderson, the boy on 1. Down and out the flank he goes. He'll be looking for a spot in the top 30. Once again, a very, very well shorn sheep. And that is what's going to be required, ladies and gentlemen. These boys are going to need probably points of maybe 2 or 3 at the back to really look for a comfortable position in their top 30. But it doesn't really matter. You can be 30th and still come through and make the final, Tama. It is all about quality in this game.
Yes, you're dead right, Kerry. Murray Henderson, he's made a lot of those finals here. I'm pretty sure Murray's shorn in 3 or 4 open finals here. That's the man on stand number 1. We got Lee Harris. He is the Australian boy on stand number 4. Steps up the neck of that big Romney U. Tries to wrap around his leg. These are the sort of sheep you can't really muscle because they'll fight you back. Phil Wedd down on stand number 5. He's from up in the northern area, and he is a great shearer, this young man. He's also got a great fishing boat. That's why I'm saying great things about him. And down there on stand number 6, we have Liam Jensen. Liam runs in and grabs another little BLT. We're on 6 minutes. These guys, I think they might be just a little wee bit slower than the last heat. Muzzer, you might need to pull a few of your special moves out, buddy, and really push it along. So just looking at the points, ladies and gentlemen, like I was saying, in the program, there is a page, on page 20, it tells you the in-depth on how the judging system works. So if you have a quick little read of that, you'll get an understanding of how these judges judge these shearers. So Murray Henderson, sheep number 6 on the board. Out comes the belly out the back. The judge on him at the moment won the Evergreens event not long ago, Mr. Brooker. 1-2 blows. Murray Henderson's leading the way at the moment. Alex Smith into the undermine he works. These are quite big ewes, ladies and gentlemen. They're probably weighing at least 70 kilos. So it takes a little bit of work to get around these big girls. But these shearers, this is the best in the world, the open class. Alex Smith steps up the neck. Mike Hamilton, down the last side he works. The gear looks like it's fluffing a little wee bit. Because these sheep are so dry, Kerry, they're having a real problems keeping that glossy finish.
That's right, Tama, and it certainly hasn't been an easy season for the farmers in the lower North Island. It's the dry really does cause a little bit of havoc, really, not just for the farmers either. These shearers have probably got a little bit more work to do on their gear, but it's going to be the boy on stand number 1 coming home in the qualifying heat, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together, Murray Henderson. Well, Sean, my man. And finishing touches there for Alex Smith. Well done.
Might just dive in there. Thanks, Kerry. We've got some action down here. We've got running time of 16 minutes now. These two fantastic open shearers are on the press, and there we go. Jimmy Samuels said, I am clean, I have done the bail, and she's a done job. Cam, who's sort of based in and around Balclutha lately, but spending a lot of time in Australia, says, hey, Pin, that's not the idea. He's got the old bounce in his step. He's going to whip that, hopefully, 160 kg bail out. Action apiece. He too will have his arm in the air before too long. Is he happy with his job? He is. Whoa. What are you thinking? It's down to the scales now, Monica, isn't it, to see how we're going. Lots of points involved all around here, and I'll explain that as it unfolds. But it's always interesting, the bail weights, aren't we? So, Monica, you want to talk this through? We're looking for 160 from Jimmy Samuels.
145. We're a bit light.
Jimmy didn't want to use all his energy up. He's got an open heat coming up soon.
Getting a few pillows over there, are you, Gerald?
What's that, buddy?
A few pillows.
Pillows. Yeah, the bounce back pillows. We'll take that.
164.5 for Cam Hicks.
Oh, yeah. 164.5. That's what we like. 4.5 Ks, and it's overweight. Overweight Ks are, well, you receive less penalties for them than the underweight because you've had to work a wee bit harder. So he'll be very happy about that. We've got a few more heats coming, and we will have the final of the individual men's later on. Stuart Walton, you dot about, buddy? Come in.
Sam Saunders, can you report to the microphone desk, please? Sam Saunders.
Okay, let's heat number 2 at the stage. Well done, guys. We'll get heat 3 up on the board.
So we're into heat 2 of the open shearing heats at the Golden Shears 2020, and things are looking pretty hot already. In fact, in the book, they haven't even started on the registered competitors yet. What we've got on the stage at the moment are the late entries. But I thought let's just take a little bit of time and have a quick chat to Dean Williamson, who is the sponsor through Farmers Weekly to the junior shearing class. And we've just had that final, and we spoke to the 2 young Welsh boys. But Dean, a little bit about your sponsorship here at Golden Shears.
Oh, we
Festival.
love it. Yeah, thanks, Mavis. We absolutely love doing this. Having seen the juniors come through, having done it, as we have, we know that when you get to that junior level, they have done the hard yards. They've sort of broken through that first barrier, haven't they? And so I've got great respect for the juniors, and to see the size of the class that was here was just great. Have so many young fellas, young men and women, up there in the juniors here was just absolutely brilliant to see. It sort of says that the industry's actually in good heart, because we sometimes hear that they're not coming through, but I'm so pleased to see so many of them here.
That's right. It was a fabulous class, and of course you've just spent a little bit of time with those first and second place getters. So that was Alice and Sam. Yeah. Yeah,
aren't they great guys? So they, those 2 Welshmen, they were the first finished up there, and they came first and second, so their job was right as well. And that was the first time I'd met Alice, but Sam had won at the North Island Shearing Champs down in Masterton earlier, and so had caught up with them there. We're sponsoring that as well. But we've just had a long interview with Alice across at the museum, and what a lovely young guy he is, and his family back home must be so proud. Him coming out here, he's been working at Wairarapa.
Yes.
Yeah, and then landed him this job, and then coming here to the Golden Shears and winning the junior. What a great great thing for him.
That's right. I always think, Golden Shears is a place where dreams can come true. And for a lot of these young ones, it's the start of their journey. But Dean, I know this is cutting us a little bit short, but I see that we've started into the next heat of the Open. And these are still, looks like it, late entries, but how fantastic. Let's just quickly look along the board. So we've got Lane McSkimming, and McSkimming, a famous name, especially from the South Island. We have Eli Cummings, Pleasant Point, a mainlander as well. Shane Island from Martinborough, so a local boy. Dion King, and Dion's been a past champion. He's doing other things at the moment, been into the farming and contracting, but he's got a love for that handpiece as well. Corey Salmon from Dunedin. He has been farming up around the King Country there, partner of Kieran Herbert. And then down the bottom there we have Blair Rhodes from Hunterville. It's a pretty cool line-up there.
Oh, awesome. These guys are just such role models, and you can see the juniors and the novices, they're sitting there just watching these guys up there on the board peeling it off in the way they do. It is absolutely inspirational.
No, absolutely. Well, thanks for joining me, Dean. Let's take this back to the stadium.
Good as gold. Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.
Seconds. You might not think it's a lot of time, but 15 seconds can be the breaking point of being 31st or making that top 30. Lane McSkimming on stand 1, ladies and gentlemen. Sheep 2 on the board for him. Undermine time for Eli Cummings. He's a bit of a horse, this boy from the Pleasant Point.
I'll just jump in there, Kerry. That's okay. Thanks, mate. Sorry about that. We've just got a busy schedule down here. So on press 1, we have Stu Walton of Masterton, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. Press 2. Ricky Stevens from Napier. He has been this final a couple times in the last couple of years. Presses, on your marks, get set, go. Thanks, Kerry.
Thanks, Gerald. Dion King, into the pen he goes. He is a pass winner, ladies and gentlemen. He has held the Golden Shears title above his head. 2006 he won it, ladies and gentlemen. He knows what it takes to make the top 30. He knows what it takes to make the cut into the top 6. He knows what it takes to hold that trophy above his head. Up and around the shoulders he goes. 2006 was when he won it last. Is it going to be 2019, ladies and gentlemen? Only time will tell. Blair Rhodes down and into the long, first leg he goes, undermine time for him. Takes the top 9 and he'll step up, break the neck will open, change a handpiece for McSkimming. Into the pen he goes, sheep number 3 on the board, Eli Cummings. Very, very big tally share of the boy on 2. The question is, can he be a show sharer here at the Golden Shears 2020? We are, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking for that top 30. And Dion King says, yeah, boy, that's going to be me. Look at me go. Down the belly he goes. He's held world records before. Under the first shoulder he goes. Down the first leg, undermine time, beautiful undermine. He said, yeah, man, I am going like a cut cat. Up and around the shoulders he goes. Takes the trimming on the backside of the leg and down and into the long blow. He's got a good one-tummer and he knows exactly what to do with it, the King.
Yes, you did right. The King, they call him, is here. Long blow time for him. Blair Rhodes down there on stand number 6. Has he run out of gas? No, he hasn't. He is just coming right. Corey Salmon on stand number 5. Into the belly as well, but it's all the King at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. The King is going to put a sheep around Lane McSkimming. Down to the flank and out to the toe now. This man works. We got the Shane Island from Martinborough down the road, right there with him as well. He's really shearing very, very well. The King in for his 6th and final sheep. Here he goes. 5th sheep, sorry. These sheep, Kerry, they're a little bit big, they're a little bit demanding, but they are a lot of bit hard work for these shearers, aren't they? As they turn to the last side, Eli Cummings, he is a shared horse, so they tell me, Kerry.
Oh, I tell you what, Tama, it's not all about size. Size is all right. The question is, if these shearers can just get to settle these sheep, if they can just get their sheep to sit, and that is the question. These sheep, they're big, strong Wairarapa ewes, ladies and gentlemen. They have come out here to wreck some shearers. That is their mission in life, I think, some of these sheep. And up and round the shoulders goes Dion King. Sheep number 5 on the board for him. Look at him go. He is having a good shear, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the points on the board. There's hardly anything in it. Look at Dion King, 0.5 on the board. Very, very good shear by the boy from the bay into the pen he goes. 6th and final sheep on the board for Dion. Down and out the flank goes Salmon. Finishing touches for, Shane Island, ladies and gentlemen. Down and out the flank he goes. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 6 on the board for him. Eli Cummings. Down and into the long blow he goes. Lane McSkimming. Finishing touches for him. Into the pen he goes. Finishing touches. Sheep number 5 on the board for him. Eli Cummings. Down the first shoulder he goes. Under that final leg. Down and out the flank. Shane Island. Muscles, the big muscles up. Around the shoulders he goes. Takes the trimming on the 4th side of the leg. Down and into the long blow he will go. Down there on stand number 6. Blair Rhodes, into the pen he goes. But it's going to be the boy they call the Dion King, ladies and gentlemen. Down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches for him. And time clock taken, Tama.
Oh, that's a great score that Dion has there, 26. That's bringing it a little bit better to what we thought might it be. And these other shearers working away quite well. Oh, Eli's got a sore back. That's how I do it. I think he's making fun of me, that fellow, because that's how I shear. Well done to Shane Ireland from Muttonborough, just down the road. He's had a very, very good shear. Gerald, how are you getting on down there? Oh, you're silent, Gerald. Are you okay?
I'm still okay. Don't worry about that. I'm mesmerised down here too by these presses. Look at the armfuls of wool they can take. You've been between watching the shearing and the presses here. There's something grand about watching someone work really, really hard. And the skill level and the athleticism, all those sorts of things. I probably won't pull a big word out like that later on tonight, but at this stage we can still do those. So here we go, your local boy, Stu Walton. Once again, hitting the corners, because you've got to do that. He's deciding, yes, we need a whole lot of wool in there, so he's not just tramping, he's hitting the edges, and then kaboom, with one big solid hit. Ricky Stevens from Napier. Now it's the wind-up time. Now this takes a lot of skill, ladies and gentlemen. He'll wind us up really fast without the box going side to side. See that there? You think, oh, that's just how it goes. That takes a lot of skill, winding and holding steady at the same time. Otherwise, that box starts this bang, bang, bang on what's called the centre pole. Okay, when it starts that, it becomes very difficult to get that up there quickly and very difficult to get it up there, basically. Okay, so he's tidying up here. There's reasons he's doing this. He's got to do the first half of all these jobs like a shearer correctly. Otherwise, the last half becomes really difficult. If he doesn't keep this tidy, he's going to be fighting that wool on the way down, and that cap will come down, and it's got little grooves in it, and the wool will get inside there, and it'll be very hard to drive those pins through. So that's what's happening here. We've got another wind up here.
I'll just jump in here. We'll get these next one on the board, please. Thank you. Stand 6 will be Conan Tikini. Jovan Taiki on stand 5. Reihana Hokianga on 4. Slotger on 3. DJ Crawford.
So here we are, back into the green room. We are up to heat 4 of the Open Shearing Championships, and of course I've got the master himself right next to me. David and I are going to have a bit of a blast at this, David, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll give it a crack, Mavis, for sure.
It's a little bit like the blind leading the blind, but we figure, why not? Let's, if these guys can innovate with technology, then perhaps we should try innovating a little bit as well. So we're going to talk you through, I guess, this next heat coming up. And David, we've got the names on the board already.
Yeah, we've got Leon Samuels on stand 1. Leon's one of the top shearers from the South Island.
Yeah.
He's incredibly good at speed shears. He's won a lot of open finals. His biggest wins, I think, were this year, just recently at Balclutha at the Otago Championships, and I think it was South Island Shearer of the Year. He won this as well.
That's right, he did too. He was a bit of a wild card, from what I understand.
He's always been right there. He's just making a name for himself right now.
Fantastic, because that's Jimmy's brother too, isn't it?
It
Jimmy
is.
Samuels and Adrian. We saw Adrian compete in the Woolhandling, and in fact then Leon's niece, she did very well in the novice Woolhandling today as well. So great to see that family connection. And on stand 2, we've got DJ Crawford. In the book, you might be a bit confused. It says Marianne Beatty, that's his partner. She probably entered him. And
I'm sure that's what happened. I think Marianne did the entries for DJ.
yeah, so from Gisborne. Next one, we've got Scott Girk, David, from Porongaho. So that's out our way, East Coast. Great to see him here. He's been doing a few of the shows as well. And then Reihana Hokianga, another one from Porongaho, Ngāti Kere. We've got them all coming out, and it's great that they've come to celebrate the 60th birthday, pit themselves against the best, David. That's how they do it. That's how it works, isn't it?
Most definitely, and they're all come here to say that whether they do well or not, they've all come here to say they've been shearing at Golden Shears.
Yep, that's right. Javan Taiki from Porongaho. I wonder if those are right.
And Conan Tekeni from Tamaranui, a very good shearer, very good speed shearer. I've seen him in a few speed shears in the King Archery, and he's very, very quick.
Yeah, no, so this should be interesting. So we're only just starting now on the names in the book. And again, they're starting off pretty well, David.
Yeah, I think we'll see Leon Samuels probably come out and dominate this heat. He should do on his form. He's actually vying to make that open final for the first time, I think, on Saturday night. So big things to come from Leon.
Oh, how exciting that would be. How exciting that would be for him. And then DJ, I know DJ hasn't been around the shows this year. We've kind of missed seeing him and Marianne around, but, something always draws them back to the Golden Shears. So here he is on the screen at the moment. The little dials on the bottom kind of give us a bit of an indication. The green-red bit tells you what the average is of all those shearers across the board, and the little dial tells you where DJ sits. So at the moment, in terms of the time, he's sitting about the average, and we can see that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's a great bit of technology. It's once you understand it, it's quite helpful. Obviously you want to be in the green, not in the red.
Yep.
And you can look at these heats and see who's doing well. And it's once people get their head around it, it's quite useful.
Yeah. So moving with the times, and that's all thanks to Toby and his team at Noise Productions. So great innovations happening there. So you can see Scott there as well. Here we go. He's. I've always resisted the temptation to say he's going over the undermine David, but I've just done that. It's a great view, though. Look at that. There's not much between them at the moment.
Yeah, DJ's going well in there. He had a very good senior career coming through the grades, and
Yes.
once again he's a very fast shearer. Does very well on the speed shears as well, DJ.
Yep, they're all looking pretty even though at the moment, although DJ might be just falling back a bit. But these three on the end, David, look at them. That's probably just about blow for blow.
Stand 4, 5 and 6 are almost blow for blow together. Be most interesting to see in a moment where Leon Samuels is.
Yes.
But yeah, pretty even at this stage.
Here we go. Here's some clever stats for us to just try and absorb it. Still early days, but look at Leon.
Early days, but by the look of the technology there, Leon's starting to sneak ahead on points and qualifying well.
Yes. He's not necessarily the fastest. He's just behind these boys down the end, but it's all about the other bits and pieces, the quality.
Quality's so important. You can be the fastest shearer, but if you haven't got the quality, you won't do any good.
Yeah. Does this make you miss it, David?
Yeah, it does a bit. But it's much easier sitting here than doing it, I can tell you.
Yeah, I bet. I can imagine. So there's Conan. He's kind of, well, he's probably not at the end he'd like to be in terms of those quality dials.
Yeah, he's got 3 more sheep to come back yet, but he's just slipping back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Big boy from Taumaranui. They shear a lot of sheep around that area, that's for sure. So here we are back with Javan Taiki from Porongaho. Great turnout from Porongaho. Neat to see them all here. So I guess they'd be, working with some of the local contractors from out at Porongaho. They're really family-based these days and stay quite local. So great for them to come out. There's been some famous names come out of that place, all the Wakefields.
Most definitely, really shearing heartland, really.
Yep, definitely. A lot of it, unfortunately, in trees, but we won't talk about that at the moment.
It's another day.
It's another day. That's another day. So, Scott, have you seen Scott around very much at all?
Scott's travelled a bit. He's been around a lot of shearing competitions. He's never quite got to the big finals and that, but always supported. And I guess what we must remember, without the guys supporting all the competitions and making up the numbers, you don't get the guys out on top. So we need everyone there taking part.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great benchmark for self as well, isn't it? You know, just kind of being part of that greater team of
Definitely.
shearers worldwide, really. No, very cool. So looks like we're getting back up the top here a little bit. No, we're still at DJ. Like you said, it'd be quite nice to have a little bit of a look at how Leon's doing in terms of his overall. Here we go, yeah. Oh, he's still leading the pack, though, in terms of the consolidated points. Very cool.
A good close-up of Leon here. He's right on the top of his game at the moment. You'll see coming down the first leg and heading up the undermine. He's got total control of the sheep. He'll know what he's got to do to get through to the top 30 tonight.
Yeah, but it's not all about speed, is it, David?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Although if you can be the fastest and the cleanest shearer, you'll probably win most events.
Yeah. They're in good condition, those sheep, aren't they?
These sheep are really well presented. With the dry conditions we've had, these are shearing exceptionally well.
Yep, all the way in from Hikorangi Station. So, big ups to all these farmers. They've done an amazing job keeping these sheep through at the moment. And look at those statistics down the bottom. He's on the right end of everything right now.
This will be our best year probably so far in the heats we've seen come through at the moment.
Yep.
He's got is it number 6 on the board now, I think.
He
Sheep
does.
6, yep, that's his last one. So he's coming home strong.
He is coming home very strong. Great to see.
Leon Samuels really starting to open his ears under the final.
Well, the stadium, David, out there is, there's still a damn good crowd out there. People are still coming in. We've finished the pressing and all the focus now. This is where the rubber hits the road with these open boys, isn't it?
That's right, and I think the number of entries we've got here, 86 or 90 or whatever it is in the open, that's right up there with some of the best years ever at Golden Shears. 60th anniversary, I know, but incredible really when you think how the rural sector might be struggling in many ways. Here we are at Golden Shears with record entries, and it's a real credit to this committee and just the atmosphere this place brings. It really is the Wimbledon of shearing.
Yeah, she is pretty special. It is very special. I have to agree with you there. Here's Leon putting the finishing touches. How did he skip ahead like that? He was obviously saving the best till last,
Yeah, and that's just the experience these top guys have got. He would have picked his pen and knew that he had a couple of very good sheep to come home on and finish well with good quality. He's got a good low total there now, and he'll better sit back ready for tonight.
Yeah. Oh, how exciting for him.
Very good young shearer, this guy.
Yeah, obviously, look at that.
He's got one more left in the pen. That's a very good.
Great graphics, guys. It's just really neat and gives it a snapshot. Just for the uninitiated, just gives a really good snapshot of where things are, and it keeps, I think, people a little bit more engaged in the action, David.
Definitely. We just see Conan Tekeni there from Taumaranui finishing off.
They're going to have the last say.
Scott Girk's coming down the last side now.
Yeah.
Some of these guys will be quite relieved it's over.
Well, you know, you talked about it before. Sometimes it's just about getting up there and supporting the event, the people, your mates, whatever. And you know, these guys, we've got to be grateful. They're the toilers, aren't they?
Of
They're
course,
the journeymen.
and as I say, we need the numbers, and you know these guys are here. They may or may not get through, but without them, we don't have the other guys sitting at the top. And you know they'll go home and they can say they sure at Golden Shears 60th anniversary.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's been great so far, and I think we've got there's a huge field here in these open shearers. Amazing and wonderful to have them here. Great to see them, and just awesome to see DJ coming down that last side. Nearly done. He'll be pleased. That's him finished. And now we'll just, you know, Scott will just finish off in his own time, doing it his own way.
He won't be getting too worried.
No. Hopefully he's up there just enjoying the experience of it all.
I'm sure. I hope he is.
Yeah. Oh, well, David, this has been very cool to spend this little bit of time with you to talk through some of this. We don't often have the opportunity to have someone like yourself just talking us through. We're not giving the hype of the stadium commentators, but it's really nice just to share something a little bit more about what really happens, how people really feel.
I'm really looking forward to this next couple of days. You know, the top 30 tonight, the open semis tomorrow, all of the events, but this tomorrow night, Saturday night, will be pretty special.
Yep, it sure will. Looking forward to it hugely. Thank you very much, Dave. Been great to have this time with you.
It's a pleasure. Cheers, Mavis.
Thank you.
If I can just jump in there, Norman, that's okay. Thanks, buddy. So press one here is the young fellow, Tyrone Oliver from Ekatahuna. He's only 17. He's full of power. He's not worried if it's hard. He's just going to go for it. This man down here, a local man from Masterton, Conan Harmon Gray, has made the final before and is a peers champion, former peers champion. So there you go. Presses are ready. On your marks, get set, go. Thanks, Norman.
We have the green light. Shearers to the board. Jason Radema from Masterton, can you report to the board? Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go. Heat number 5, Tamanea. He is from the Gazebro area, the land of plenty up there. That's Gisborne, ladies and gentlemen. We got Wiki Thompson from a little place called Waipawa. It's on the main road between Dannevirke and Napier. blink and you'll miss it. Emily Welch, she's from Wairarapa. Her and her husband Sam have a farm up there. They run a shearing business. I don't think Emily does as much shearing now as she'd like to do. She's usually looking after the little ones. But it's great to see Emily here and competing in the 60th Golden Shears. Stand number 4 from Gisborne as well. We have Bevan Peve. Bevan Peve has been shearing for Johnny Kirkpatrick out of Napier. Good to see Bevan here. He's a wonderful shearer. Went very, very well through the lower grades, and he's just waiting to sort of probably get over the nerves of being in the open, and then he'll really start hitting his straps. And then we have Jason Ratima on stand number 5 from Masterton. Good to see him here. And on stand number 6, we have Adam Brausch from Dannevirke, one of the fastest hands in the game. Adam Brausch is the first one in for sheep number 2. So that's our shearers, Kerry. They're all settling about getting into their business. A lot of them will farm their pens. Probably try and do the best one first, and then they'll settle in and do the biggest to smallest. I think that's how they usually roll in it, Kerry.
Yeah, well, that's right. Some of these boys, they'll have a bit of a game plan intact, but it's quite common for these guys to maybe put up their best sheep first, and first and last that they'll try and do. And the reason they put up their good sheep first is because they want to just try and get a good quality job, just one of the easier ones in the pen. They'll think, yeah, I might start on that. I'll just break the ice a little bit. I'll get a nice, clean quality job on that. They don't want to do points of, say, upwards of 15 on their first sheep, because the reason is they're thinking, well, I've got to claw back 15. Those sheep, ladies and gentlemen, I like to do those harder shearing sheep in the middle. Just after they've warmed up on 1 or 2, down and out the flank they go. And that is what Tamaniania has decided to do. He's got his first one, and it is a ripper, ladies and gentlemen. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 2 on the board, ladies and gentlemen. In there for another one in. He will have 3. Down the first belly he goes. Belly will chuck clear. First leg he will go. Wiki Thompson. Into the pen he will go. Sheep 3 on the board for him. Emily Welsh, world record holder, ladies and gentlemen, of the 9-hour lamb record. She still holds that, and we know she knows how to shear lambs pretty good. The question is she able to shear these big Wairarapa ewes, ladies and gentlemen? They are demanding sheep. And at the moment, she says, mate, not a problem. I'm fighting against the boys. She is more than good enough, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very good shearer, this girl in her own right. The question is she going to be good enough to make that top 30? Are any of these boys going to be good enough to make the top 30? It is going to be a brutal cut, ladies and gentlemen. Up and around the shoulder goes the Jason Ranama. Round and down he goes. Bit of a niggle there. Down and into the long blow he goes. Under control again. He said, mate, I've got this sheep. Down and out the flank goes the boy Adam Brash down there on 6. Made the final there quite a few years ago. He is a very, very good shearer in his own right. Yeah, you're right, Tama. He's got the fastest hand in the West. That's why.
Yes, he certainly has, Kerry. That is the young man down there on stand number 6. He dives in for sheep number 4. We're on 4 minutes and 23 seconds, 24. And these shearers, they are shearing very, very well. Tamanea up the neck, he works. Wiki Thompson runs and grabs another sheep. I think it might be Tamanea. He might be a little bit in front of the stage in time stakes. It comes down to what's happening up on these points up top, ladies and gentlemen, where it says board. You'll see these shearing judges up there, and they have little counters in their hands. And every time one of these shearers makes a double cut, they will click on that. It's the size of your finger. So any second cut's the size of your finger, that is marked as 1. So they'll give that 1 click. If it's bigger than that, they'll click it twice. Sometimes if they'll do a half a second cut, they'll save it and match it up with another one. So that's how that works, and that's what those guys up on the board are doing. They're looking for second cutting. Also, they're looking to make sure that these competitors do not impede other competitors. Say if the guy in front throws his belly at the back and it ends up on the guy behind him's head, he will actually incur penalty points for that. So down the last side works Vicky Thompson. Emily Welch is not too far behind. Bevan Petty cleaning up underneath the leg. We've even got the Jason Radmer down there, out the last side. But all the pace at the moment is coming from stands 1 and stand 6. Tamanea big blows up the backbone, and he's going to take the top knot off. So, Kerry, these guys are working away nicely. We're on sheep number 5. We just clicked over 6 minutes. So these guys are making fairly good time as well.
Yeah, fairly good time, all right, Tama. But the question is, their time can be one thing, but the thing is, they got to have the quality job. But on the flip side of that, they got to be mindful that they take every little whisker of wool off these sheep. These judges, they will judge these sheep on the board, as you'll see here. Now, when the sheep goes down the porthole, it will be judged outside. These judges will take every little point they can off these shearers. These sheep are of a high quality standard, ladies and gentlemen. There is very, very little points to take off these sheep. These shearers are some of the best we have in the world. New Zealanders have the best shearers in the world. New Zealand has the best sheep in the world, ladies and gentlemen, and we have the best show in the world, and we call it the Golden Shears Championships, ladies and gentlemen. 2020 we are. And down there on stand number 6, sheep number 6 on the board for the boy they call Aaron Brush. Up the neck he goes. Takes a cheek one and he'll work his way around the shoulder, and Tamanea near his head. Not without me, you don't, me old mate. Not without me, you don't. Up and around the shoulders he goes. Works his way around the shoulder and down and into the long blow he goes. Jason Radema, sheep 6 on the board for him. Bevan into the pen he goes. Down and out the flank goes the boy down there on 6. Finishing touches for him. Near. Over the last shoulder he goes, the boy from the Gizzy. Down and out the flank. But it is going to be the boy down there on stand 6, Tama. Very, very good shear by him.
Adam Brush, the young man from Danny Virg, great shear. Now based himself in Masterton, but he always calls Danny Virg home. Tama near. Just showing the crowd that sheep, how well shorn it is. Well done, Tama. So these other shearers, I think Jason Ratima from Masterton is going to be next off. Working his way down the shoulder. Gerald, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, we've got this young 17-year-old. He just gives it some stick, this fella. I was talking about as you get older, you start, working smarter, not harder. But this young fella, he's not at that stage yet. He's full of power and muscle, and if there's a mountain in the way, he's going to move it. Okay, not by the power of the mind, with a shovel, I'd say. So there he goes, he drives these through. He's got Conan the Barbarian over here, and he's a big, strong, strapping lad too, as you can see. And he is giving it everything you can imagine here. Tyrone is desperate for making this big final, as they all are, and he lines up another one down these slots I spoke of, and they have to bang it right through the other side of the pack here, and that's going to hold 160 kgs of wool, which has a huge desire to want to get out of there. Okay, it's a bit like putting start heating up water and it starts steaming up, and it's got nowhere to go. Eventually it's going to explode. So these pins hold that in. He unravels the cord now. He wants it nice and...
If that's all right, sorry mate. Can we get the next seat on the board please? On stand number 6 will be Lockie Baines. Louise Pickall on 5, Floyd Neal on 4, Lukey Gordon on 3, David Gordon on 2, Jimmy Samuels on stand number 1. And seat number 6. And heat 7. They need to make their way to the left of the stage, please. Will be Robin Mudgeway, Tegwin Bradley, Roland Smith, and through Bart Hatfield, Dean Hurley.
Very good, thanks Norm. So we've talked about the power and the strength as Conan now starts pumping it through too. I'm quite sure he must have a fan club somewhere in the audience. Now we're getting a bit of noise. 11 minutes 23, it's all good. Now we've got the details over here. They've got to be very good, these fellas. Okay, they've got to brand the bale on this paperwork, and the brand must be tidy. It must be exact, as in capitals for capitals, a bit like an email, okay, a dot here, a co or a com or .co.nz. It has to be exact, otherwise it might end up in someone else's pocket when it ends up going to the wool store. They get tangled up with long acres at Waimatua and long acres at I don't know, Dannyverk, and the wrong man gets some money, so it has to be exact. And we are on our toes now. Conan also desperate. This is when these are capless packs, okay, the flaps come with it, and they staple it together with these little wee sort of like steel nails, okay? When that wool goes through a wool scour or starts getting handled, and those nails could become a contaminant in here, it just goes under a magnet, okay? And what does a magnet do? It attracts metal, doesn't it? And the staple comes flying out talking about attracting metal, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrone Oliver is on fire. Hoo-yah! He's going to light this place up. It's my moment to shine. The open heats might be on, but hey, swing your chair. Action apiece. He's got everything going. We've got a green light. We'll stick down here until someone tells me otherwise. Come on, Tyrone.
Timekeepers ready. Shearers, get set, go.
Heat number 6, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway. Jimmy Samuels will take 1. David Gordon will be down there on 2. Nuki Gordon will take 3. Floyd Nell will take 4. Lewis Pentacole, the boy from Chile, will take 5. Lockie Baines will take stand number 6. And we are racing in heat number 6, ladies and gentlemen. We have a big field here today. 15 open heats. We have over 90 shearers. We are looking for the top 30. It is going to be a brutal cut. The question is, who is it going to be? And down and around the shoulders they go. Sheep number 1, a 6 competition sheep on the board this year, ladies and gentlemen. Under the final shoulder and down and out the flank. And David Gordon says, yeah, boy, follow me. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 2 on the board for him. One of the fastest times we've seen so far. 1 minute 5. Into the pen goes Jimmy Samuels. Into the pen goes Nookie. Floyd Neal and Lewis Pentacole in. All these boys, sheep number 2 on the board. Radio John, take it away, my man.
Well, just looking at the scores there before, you need to be in the high 20s, 28 there, somewhere abouts. The quality of these sheep is something brilliant. Even though we talked about the dry conditions, you don't need to get the lawnmower out in the Wairarapa. By golly, she's pretty tough. Over the top comes Jimmy Samuels now, working away. He's a real speed shearer, this fella, but he loves getting it off quick. Here he goes round the offside now, the first off shoulder. The pace, though, still on stand number 2 is a young David Gordon. He's got his father chasing hard on his heels. Nook has been shearing in the evergreens earlier in the day, and he comes across the shoulder. Working away down the last side is Floyd Neal from Tamarinui. Out the last leg, and is the Lockie Barnes for Wairarapa down there the far end. Big, strong, strapping shearer, this fella, shearing out of Hastings these days. Right out the last leg, Lewis Pentacole, one of our international athletes. Under the shoulder, he just loves shearing in New Zealand. Right out the last leg for him. Just a small stature of a shearer, but by golly, he can whip it off. Floyd Neal says, don't count me out on the pace. I'm up over the tail. Right on top of the game, over the top knot he comes. David Gordon, though, still leading the way at the moment. Jimmy Samuels, sheep number 3 on the board for him. He's got his glasses off today. He doesn't want to get all steamed up. He's got half a dozen to shear in this one. The Golden Shears Bailey's Open elimination round. And we're almost halfway through the heats. Here they go. We need to find the top 30 to get that shear done tonight. And that will be exciting. Who's going to miss out? It's always tough when you're number 31, but that's the crack of the game. Out the last leg comes David Gordon, the Masterton lad. Boy, he's doing it proud at the moment. Here he goes, the big Whanau right behind him. They've been working hard here at the Golden Shears, in the pressing, in the wool handling, up on the board. In goes Lockie Baines. In now goes Floyd Neal from Tamanui, and Nookie Gordon's right there. Jimmy Samuels coming with a bit of a rush on sheep number 3, Norman.
Yeah, Nookie Gordon out on the board. 4 on the board for Nookie, 4 on the board for Floyd Neal. Jimmy Samuels in and out he steps as well. 4 it is for Floyd. David Gordon shearing nicely. Just a young up-and-coming shearer in this open grade. Round onto the first front shoulder.
Okay, just heat number 7. Those guys come down, get ready, please. Robert Mudway, Cleveland Bramley, Ron Smith, M3, Bart Hatfield, and Dean Hurley.
So while those guys are making their way down there, we'll get into this heat. Swinging around late into the long blows, Nookie Gordon shearing like a man half his age of about 40. Way up the long blow he sweeps and he steps across. Fires that leg over. Bit of sand in that one. It might affect his gear, but he's got another handpiece there if he needs it. Floyd Neal, the big fella there on stand number 4, down over the last front shoulder. Up the neck and around the back of the head, the wee man living in Waimate in South Canterbury, but originally from Chile in South America, is Luis Pincol. He swings around, locks and loads into the long blow. It's his first season in the Open as well. And big Lockie Baines down there on the far end on stand number 6. Powers his way into the first hind leg. Couple of big shots towards the backbone and up the undermine he goes. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Top of the head comes off for Lockie Bain. Up the neck he steps. Cheek comes off. And way around the back of the head. So on the front stand, Jimmy Superfly Samuels slides into the first hind leg. Opening the wall up into the back of the backbone. Top of the head comes off and he steps through and up the neck. But David Gordon, way down onto that last front shoulder, leading the field there with Lockie Baines, Johnny, as they work their way down the last side. One more sheep left in the pen for these guys.
Yeah, well, it's blow for blow at the moment. Chasing hard is Floyd Neal. Nookie Gordon coming over that last side as well, the money side of the sheep. Hey, any one of these guys could be at the top of the heap. That's an average per sheep. The outside pen, the pen is the outside judging. Look on page 20 if you're having a little bit of trouble understanding it. That'll just... Shears. But who's in the pace? It's still David Gordon at the moment. Oh, but by a whisker, only over Lockie Baines down there on 6. Then goes our Waimate man, Lewis Pincol, but it's David Gordon. 6 and 7 and 7. That is sharp. That puts the pressure on now, because every 20 seconds you take a shearer sheep, that's another point added to your tally. So 6:07, the clock was stopped at. Here we go, Jim.
I might just jump in there, John, just quickly to get this started, please. Thank you. So press 1 here. Tyner Paul from Mount Bruce. Press 2, Vinnie Goodger, the defending champion, on 2 from Masterton. In that case, presses are ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go.
Righto, we just got Louis to finish the job here now. Down on stand number 5. The clock is stopped up on the big machine, but I'm sure they'll have it backed up in the computer room under the shoulder and down and out to the flank for him. Golly, we might have to put a bit of a handbrake on some of these overseas visitors. We've had a couple of Welshmen take out the first and second in the junior competition. It's a bit of a worry, but I'm sure our open class shearers won't let that happen. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That was a good shear.
And that was heat number 6, folks. Heat number 7 about to take the board. Down on stand number 6, we'll have Dean Hurley. On 5, we'll have Bart Hadfield. On 4, Ant Frew. On 3, Roland Smith. On stand number 2, Tegwin Bradley. And on 1, we'll have Robert Mudgway. This is heat number 7. We'll give them a couple of moments to sort their gear. And we'll be underway. Gerald, how's she all going down there with you, mate? You've had a big, big day down there in the pressing, and it's not over for you yet.
Yeah, look, it's a great team down here. Biggest day is actually by these 2 judges, Peter Cox and Carl Cox. They have done some airs, and not once do they take the eye off the eye off the ball, as if to say. But let's keep everyone up to date, because it's nothing we can't handle. We have big shoulders. Now, remember the young fella from the heat before, Tyrone Oliver. Okay, a lot of power and strength. First heat was around 15 minutes, remember? The next heat was a minute quicker than that at 14. Tyrone Oliver pumped them out in 12 minutes 59 seconds. He broke the 13-minute mark. Well done, young fella. We're looking for 160 kgs. He came in at 157.5. That is a very good effort and something to watch out for, and we'll find out soon, I suppose, because this is the last of the semi-final heats. Conan the Barbarian was over here, and he wasn't far behind with 14 minutes 21, and he come in, he had a wee bit much power, 168.5. So it's going to be very close. By jolly it is. Right, let's just see what's happening right here. Interrupt when you're ready.
Here we go, Gerald. Sorry. Shearers to the board, please.
Okay.
Up on the front, Robert. Thank you.
Green light. We'll get the thumbs up from...
Pull him out of there, Kevin. Don't worry about him. I know he's got no wool over his eyes, but he's trying to pull the wool over yours.
That's old Bart Hadfield, man. He can shear anything, that fella.
Yeah, well, he's going to reach right into the back of the pen and probably look out the one over the back and reckon that's even better. But we'll have him out. Thank you. All looking good here, Kevin. I'm not bragging at all either. Give us a thumbs up, mate. So it looks like he might be getting a freebie. We haven't got that many spare sheep. There's a huge number of competitors here for this 60th occasion.
I think what's happening up there is Bart just wants an extra one in the pen. They only got 6. He would like 7. Just waiting for a 7th one to come in.
Well, he's a bit of a speed shearer in his day. He did a 2-stand record way back years ago in the Thai Abbey.
He might have had a bit more hair then.
Well, he probably went that fast that day. He blew the whole lot off.
He may well have. So another good lineup. And, of course, the TAB favourite up there, Rolly Smith. Stand 3.
I just wonder how long it takes to find a sheep in Masterton.
Yeah, I don't know.
There we go. Everybody's happy. Green light. Timekeeper's right. Judges, competitors, go. And they're off into the pen, these fellas. Robbie Mudgway from Martin. He had a quick look at his sheep. He's, from Thai Happy. Thai Happy is Robbie Mudgway. Tegwin Bradley from Woodville. Rolly Smith from Hastings. And Frew. Pleasant Point. Down there for Wairarapa, Bart Hadfield. Down the far end from Whangamomana, Dean Hurley. A massive track for some of these shearers to come here. Right from the deep south to the far north. East coast to west coast. You're all going to be here for the 60th occasion. And who's going to lead the way? We've talked about the speedster Bart Hadfield down the far end. If only his little darling will play the game, he'll be on to the last side first. But he can't do it. And Roland Smith says, let me at it. And he's gone out in 52 seconds. That is pretty sharp, ladies and gentlemen. Down the last side comes Ant Frew, Tegwin Bradley. Fresh up into the open and not too many times. And he's loving it. Good high-quality shearer from up there in Woodville. Then goes through. Robin Mudgway jumps on the bandwagon as well. Bart Hadfield. Not shearing many big days lately, but he's more into the organisation of shearing. And he just loves getting back here and throwing the big bog iron out. Last to bring out the second sheep was Dean Hurley from up in the Nacky. Might have to give him a bark or two because there's not too many Nackyites down here nowadays, Norm. We seem to run out of a few of our shearers. Too many cows in the country.
Too many cows in the country, right? No doubt about that. So sheep number 2 it is up on the board for all these competitors, and it looks like Rolly Smith on stand number 3 steps in and out for his third sheep. 2 minutes and 9 seconds gone on the clock as he steps back out of the pen, finds a forward gear and away down the belly he goes. The big fella on stand 3 slides into the first hind leg, fires a couple of big shots down towards the backbone and up the undermine and through into the top of the head. In goes Ant Frew from Pleasant Point and Bart Hadfield from Wairarapa. Tegwin Bradley's right there as well. Down the last side come Robert Mudgway and Dean Hurley. Dean Hurley from the Nacky. Robert Mudgway from Tai Happy. It's Roland Smith out in front as far as pace goes in this one so far. Halfway through when he finishes this. Ant Frew from the deep south. Turns into the top of the head, or sort of the mid-south, I should say. Up the neck he steps. All the boys go, come on, Ants. And then in the base there and around the back of the head. Bart Hadfield swinging into the long blow this time. Just got a couple of shots on Ant Frew on the sheep. Beautiful style, Bart Hadfield. He's a terrific shearer, always has been. Terrific shearing trainer as well. Down over the last front shoulder he goes. So Rolly Smith, 4 on the board. 3 minutes and 20 gone on the clock, and he's got the belly out behind him and into the first hind leg. Tegwin Bradley and Frew down over the last front shoulder, into the last side, but finishing touches now for big Bart Hadfield as he strolls into the pen for sheep number 4. Back on the board he comes, John, and ready to knock the fluff off another one.
He did another fine thing in his life. He married a Taranaki lass. So he's got 2 pluses. He's been a great shearer and he married a Taranaki girl. So we're right on the hunt. Come on, Dino, get him behind him there. Let him follow him through as he comes onto the last side. Dino Hurley down over the money side. He comes. He's on sheep number 3, just a little bit off the pace. Robbie Mudgway still finishing touches here on his third one. There's Rolly Smith. He's just about to go past him as he streams down the last side on his 4th. 2 left in the box. Rolly Smith, look at him, those big long arms, those extremities. Looks like Inspector Gadget up there when he wraps himself around a sheep. Strides into the bend very quickly. Back out, that sheep doesn't know what to hit it. Look at it, nice, good round sheep it looks too. He's got a bit of an advantage probably over the smaller shear on these bigger sheep, where he can wrap himself right round them as Hadfield comes across the last side. Likewise as Ant Frew from down on the Pleasant Point land. Under the shoulder comes Tegwin Bradley, a little bit of a dancer. He starts to feel the pressure a little bit. Tries to screw around and hold that head high. And that's the secret. No, he's going to pop it forward. Just a quick shift of the thighs and that head rolls forward and he's got control of that animal now, and they're not sedated in any way, ladies and gentlemen. They are wild animals. Here is Tegwin said, it might have been my gear. I'll change a blade. Get the fresh steel on. Mudgway hits the last side on stand number 1. Bart Hadfield up over the tail with a couple of good shots. Oh, but Rolly Smith, he's got 3 shots left and he's going to be in for number 6, the final one of the slot. And the board points are looking pretty low up there. The lower the score, the better we like it. And the better the shearer will go.
Right, just jump in there, John. We've got lots of action down here. We've got running time. Your local man's just about wrapped up. We've had a real record breaking the 13-minute mark at the moment. We're 10 minutes and 5 seconds. Vinny Goodger, he is ready to wave to the crowd, ladies and gentlemen. 10 minutes 11, 10 minutes 12, 10 minutes 13, 14. There we go. Give him a super round of applause. That has set the place alight. Thank you, John.
Yeah, he's just followed up the pace that was on the board here because it is lifted. You know, those early heats can be a little bit slow, Norm. These guys have sensed that we've got to put the hammer down and get that time points.
Yeah, well, it's a big cut, John, from 90 shearers down to 30. So they've got to be shearing this almost as if it's the final, really, don't they, to get into that top 30?
You did, right.
Only the very, very best will go through here today. And Roland Smith making the most of it. Right out to the toe. Another couple of shots. And out the hole it goes. Well done, Rolly. He can stretch that big old back of his. And watch the other boys come home. Like I said, the TAB favourite, Roland Smith. Of course, if he makes a mistake or two in the big final, if he gets there, it could be someone else's. But he's not in the habit of making mistakes as Roland Smith. So Robbie Mudgeway, another couple of shots, and he'll be looking for sheep number 6. In he goes. And Tegwin Bradley and through, and Bart Hadfield into the long blow of sheep number 6. Down the last side for Dean Hurley. Around comes Anfru, got the hammer down a wee bit this time. Back there with Tegan Bradley. Just a couple of shots out in front of Bart Hadfield, but Bart Hadfield, last front shoulder for Bart as well. And Dean hops in and out of the pen for his 6th and final sheep down there on the back stand. But Tegwin Bradley finishes, Anfru finishes. Bart Hadfield, another couple of shots from the big fella from Wairarapa, and he'll be all done and dusted as well, John. So good sharing along the, look, 23.996 for Roland Smith. There you go.
Yeah, that's I say you're going to have to be in the lower mid-30s there just to make sure you're going to make this cut. Maybe to 27 if you're lucky, because the quality of these sheep is allowing some magnificent on the board and outside jobs. So that yellow points up there on the big screen, that's the final points for Rowley as these all his sheep have been judged. While they're still blue, the shearers still got sheep in the pen for the outside judges to calculate. And of course the white points that are still available at the moment because the shearer is still shearing. So there we go, Robbie Mudgeway from Taihape finishes it on the front stand. Dean Hurley, he's on the last side now. Not to be disgraced, the time has only just gone 8.5. Up against some pretty fast shearers here. Young Dino doing well. Had a bit of a tough time this week.
What's that? Send me the third.
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Next up.
Right, we've just got Tyner Paul finishing up, and he might be doing it on his own, but he's 13 minutes, 21 seconds too, so that will be the third fastest time. So well done, young fella.
Okay, so let's get the next seat up here. Nathan Meany will be on stand number 6, Justin Bell on 5, Cameron Hicks on 4, Sam Welsh on 3, Nishan Dixon on 2, and Parata Abraham on stand number 1. Wrong heat, is it? Heat 8, we're missing heat 8. Where is it? We're missing the page here, boys. Heat number 8, we're just missing a bit of paper here, guys.
Rightio, well,
they know who they are anyway, so they're up there. Here we go.
I'll steal the airways.
You go for it. The boys are getting set up, Gerald.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Right, Vinny Goodcher. Super time of 10 minutes 14, was it? Something ridiculous anyway. Doubling check. Yeah, sometimes you've got to double check these things. Once you put it out there, you put it out there. There is no rehearsal when you're commentating and announcing. As I was saying, Vinny Goodger's bar, we wanted one 160, isn't it? So it's 155, so it's a real good burst. Tina Paul over here was 145, so not quite enough Weet-Bix for lunch, basically. Right, just calling on, might get Monica Potai down here if she's dotted about. We're going to move on to the women's individual pressing now. And,
Here's to the board.
We'll do a little bit of co-commentating then, and she can give us some of her points of view because she's been around the sheds most of her life.
We've got a green light, gentlemen. Shearers to the board. Times are moving on.
Green light, boys. Green light. Let's get them out and into it.
Righto, we've got the thumbs up. Hand on the door. Timekeepers right. Judges. Competitors, go. Here we go. This is another one. We set a bit of a trailblazer with the last couple. Adam Gordon, Shorewell. Rolly Smith, Shorewell. Who's going to do it this time round? Ricky Stevens here on the front stand from Napier. He's been in the work over the last couple of days with a bit of pressing and wool handling. Now it's his crack at shearing. He was moneyless yesterday, but he's found his wallet, so that's all good, and he's in a positive set of mind. Dino Smith from Gisborne steps up the neck. Around the back of it he swings, and Paul Hodges from Reefton working likewise just directly behind on stand number 3. On 4, Jimmy Edmonds from Raititi. Doing very well. Looking into the big strong shoulders of this fella. He's been around for a day or two at the Golden Shears. Down on the next stand on 5 is Johnny Kirkpatrick. As he comes under the shoulder and down and out to the flank. Johnny's up in the Napier these days. Out the last side down the far end. We have, who we got down there on stand number 6?
Paraki.
Paraki Puna down, steps into the pen. Look at the shoulders and muscles around the upper body on this one. Hey, crikey, these sheep haven't got a chance, have they? Jimmy Edmonds out the last leg. Out comes stands 2 and 3. Smith and Hodges pretty much close together. Into the first off leg down here on the front stand. Ricky Stevens enjoys this competition here. Doesn't matter whether it's here at Golden Shears or in the South Island or up in the far north. He's all over the place. I don't know how his young family keeps track of him sometimes. But they're here in support here today. Up the neck comes Dino Smith. Whoa, a little bit quiet, but Johnny Kay looks like he's leading the way. And what have we got time? Can't see the time at the moment, Norman. They've hidden.
Heat number 9, David Beanie, Justin Bell, Cameron Hicks, Sam Welch, Ash Dixon, and Wairarapa Abraham. You guys come down and get ready, please.
So on the stage, you're talking about Ricky Stevens being all over the place at all the competitions. He's not only all over the place, he competes in just about everything as well while he's there. The wool handling, the pressing, the shearing. Nothing's a problem to this man. Right out to the back leg. Another couple of shots. He's right there with Dino Smith. Dino Smith slides sheep number 2 out and he hops into the pen with a leap and a bound for sheep number 3. The big fella on stand 2. And goes Paraki Puna down there on stand number 6. Paul Hodges, Ricky Stevens, a couple of young guns in the open now. They're in and out as well. And Jimmy Edmonds slides down the last side. Another couple of shots and he'll be looking for his 3rd sheep. But Johnny Kirkpatrick down there, one of the favourites here as well, and ex-world champion on stand number 5. One of our stronger competitors for many years now is Johnny Kirkpatrick.
Might just jump in there, Norm.
Yeah, go for
We're
it.
into the women's semis. There's 2 heats of these. And on the press 1, Carmen Smith. She's been in the final a few times, but hasn't managed to take out top podium spot yet. On press 2, we've got Fiona Healy from Masterton. She has won this event 9 times. Presses are ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go. Thank you, Norm.
Cheers, Gerald. And just as we say that, Dino Smith, he's in and out for sheep number 4, right there with Johnny Kirkpatrick. Dino Smith, the big fella, starting to open up those shoulders of his. And away down his belly he goes, over from Gisborne. And top competitor for a long, long time is Dino Smith. Saw him in the speech here last night. He goes all right in the speech here, and he can still smoke them out in these competitions as well. Up the undermine and into the top of the head for Dino. Paul Hodges, Ricky Stevens, those two on stands 1 and 3, having a bit of a ding-dong battle. Blow for blow over the other 4 sheep, or over the 3 sheep they've already done. And they're still at it over the number 4. Jimmy Edmonds from Raitahi down there on stand number 4. Hops in and out of the pen as well. Johnny Kirkpatrick slides down over the last front shoulder. So he just pulled away from Dino a bit on that one. Down the last side he pulls. Right out onto the toe on the last side, Johnny Kirkpatrick. Another couple of shots. And in he'll go John, sheep number 5. Only a couple left for JK at this stage.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at that Dino Smith as you talked about him. He had a little bit of a wriggle. He was right with the pace of Johnny K, and he's just settled down on this one to take a little bit of a breather. And then he will let go again, I'm sure. He's a big, strong lad, but he just seems to not change gear. It just fills up the comb a bit more and just bulldozes it off. So he's got a few blows behind the leader, JK, at the moment as Johnny rips up over the undermine. Down the last side comes Ricky Stevens. Up onto the last side comes Jimmy Edmonds on 4. On 3 with the finishing touches for Paul Hodge. Down there, Pariki Puna, down the belly he goes. The Napier lad cleans it off 1, 2, 3, 4 and flicks it out the back for the Woolhandler. Now he drives down the first off leg. Big shots right down to the backbone. 2 good ones up over the backbone there, one either side, and takes off the top knot with 1 shot. They are big sheep. There's a lot of ground to cover on these Wairarapa this year. And up over the top, Hodges comes. Likewise as Ricky Stevens, 5th sheep on the board. Johnny Kirkpatrick, he's finishing touches to sheep number 5. Oh, 6 minutes are clicked and he's still got 1 in the pen. But he's not too worried because his quality's still pretty good at the moment. Looking pretty good. Only haven't even got 2, an average of 2 on the board at the moment, these Shearers. They're doing extremely well. Dino Smith down and out to the flank for him. Rolling it out the last leg. Sweeping shots right from, he's shifting his eyes with every blow. Make sure he's taking his eyes back to where the hampies enters and shoots it down the porthole. Likewise, Ricky Stevens 3 shots behind. Another couple back is Hodges from Reefton. Into the long blow now, this time for Jimmy Edmonds, just trailing the field a little bit. Pariki Puna's got another one on the board. The 6th and final for him. But it's going to be Johnny K turning home. Down the last side he comes. Comes across the shoulder now. Works out that little bit of frib ball under that front leg. Down and out of the flank. Right from the middle of the shoulder, right out the last leg. One of the longest blows in the sheep. He just put in there. There he goes. Hits the button in 7 and 4.
And there he is, Johnny K. Watch the rest of them come home. Jimmy Edmonds still 1 in the pen. Just finishing this one off and he'll be in to get it. Not far away. Down the last side for Paraki Puna. But Dino Smith, he's right on the cusp of finishing this one. Over the tail he goes. Looks for the time clock button and out the hole for the sheep. Well done, Dino. Ricky Stevens, good strong finish from Ricky over the last 2 or 3 sheep. He was there with Paul Hodges blow for the first 3 and he just snuck away with them. So Paul Hodges under the front shoulder from Reefton on the west coast, this young man. West coast of the South Island, that is. Right out to the toe for Paul. Top knot comes off for Jimmy Edmonds and up the neck, but Paul Hodges looks for the button and there it is for him. Well done, Paul. Looking for a spot in that top 30. As they all are. But we've still got a few heats left, so anything can happen yet. They're going to have to be very, very good to be in that top 30. As always at the Golden Shears, only the best go through, John.
Well, just looking at Johnny K, he's got a 26 at the moment. That could sneak up with a final sheep to judge, so he made probably 1 or 2 mistakes, but it looks good. 1.3 on the board, 3.8 out the back. You can't do a lot better than that. That's on an average of 6 sheep. Jimmy Edmonds finishing touches for him. Hits the time button, gets the clock.
Give them a hand, folks. That was heat number 8. And heat 9 this time we'll get it right. We've got Nathan Meaney down there on stand number 6 from Australia. Justin Bell on 5. Cameron Hicks on 4. Sam Welsh on 3. Nishan Dixon on 2. And Parata Abraham on stand number 1.
I don't know whether it is just myself thinking, but there's a few old faces starting to appear back here at the Golden Shears. Maybe it's the 60th occasion that they've filled up the entries. Players from the past. Good to see them still in the game. Yeah, those presses going down there, Gerald.
Going very well. I was just thinking, actually, this has been a final. Now they're doing battle to break the final. So very precise here. Fiona getting the field out. So just that'll do. And years of pressing wool. Okay, it's a very, very difficult job. If I held up a big armful of wool and said to everyone in the audience, what would that weigh? There wouldn't be too many that would say an accurate sort of figure back. So you're trying to stuff all this wool in there for 160 kgs, and they're only 3 or 4 kgs out. Well, 3 or 4 kgs in 100 is only 3%. Okay, so you're down to 1.5% variation in looking for the 160. So that's how accurate they are, okay? On the scales, I might think, it's 4 or 5
Let's
k's.
get them going here,
Talking about
Gerald.
1%. Thank you, Norm.
Okay, ready to go. Shearers to the board. Can't pluck any more wool. It's against OSH rules. Out of there. Okay, green light. Timekeepers right, judges, competitors, go. Into this one. Wairarapa Abraham's the Masterton man here on the front stand. Nishan Dixon for Paeatua. Sam Welch from Waikato. Cameron Hicks from Martin on the 4th. Justin Bell from Dannyburg on number 5. And we have our Australian down there, Nathan Meaney. Is he Eeny, Meeny or Mo? I'm not sure, but he's going to mow a bit of stuff off this time round because he's flying that big right hand, and look at him go. He's keeping the pressure on the rest of these Kiwis. He's into the long blow, but so is Wairarapa Abrahams and Dixon here on the 2 stand. Sam Welch, he's been a past record holder and from up there in Waikato, and he turns for home as well. Cam Hicks, look at the long extremities on this fella. He's been into the pressing game earlier in the event. He was also in the Woolhandling, I think. So he's in that triathlon. Justin Bell, just a smaller stature. Shearers, he comes under the shoulder and down on out to the flank with the Australian. He's going to get him by a couple of blows, Norman, on the first one. 108.
108 it is, and Sam Welsh backs out onto the board. So does Nathan Meaney from Australia down there. In goes big Cameron Hicks. Justin Bell. Juddy hops in and out of the pen. Nation Dixon, the big fella there on stand number 2, slides into the pen for sheep number 2 as well. Back on the board from Paeatua. Haven't seen this guy around too much, but he can get around him, no doubt about it. Looking at him just work his way around sheep number 1. Nation Dixon, bellies off, and into the first hind leg, Kerry.
Meet number 10, Jacob Moore, Kevin Kanita, Tristan McKay, Kevin Much, Jimmy Braddock, and James Ricky. Come down, you guys be ready, please. That's heat 10.
So the front stand, Parata Abraham, winner of last night's speed share. Ladies and gentlemen, on stand number 1, your local man as well. Pies under the front leg. Cribs come off, goes back just for another whack, just to keep the judges happy. Right out onto the back leg, another couple of shots for Parata Abraham, but Nathan Meany steps in just ahead of him. So either end, and change of steel there for Parata Abraham. So maybe that comb just wasn't the one he wanted, but this will be. These guys are very, very good with their gear. A lot of time goes into comb selection. So Sam Welsh dives into the pen for his third sheep. Back onto the board, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. So Nation Dixon, change of steel there on stand number 2 as well. And Cameron Hicks hops in and out of the pen. Justin Bell in and out as well. The big fella down there on stand number 5. And away they go down the belly together. Stands 4 and 5. Flicks it out is Cameron Hicks. Flicking it out is Justin Bell. But either end of the board, that's where this pace is coming from. And having a bit of a ding-dong battle, these two. Parata Abraham winds his way up the backbone of sheep number 3 and turns for home. Beautifully shorn sheep, absolutely polished as he drops down over the last front shoulder. Nathan Meany, his will be polished as well. He can shear that Australian boy down there on stand number 6 as he punches his way down to the flank. Parata Abraham, though, right under the hock, and another couple of shots. He'll be looking for his 4th sheep. Into the pen he steps. Nathan Meany still right there with him, John.
Yeah, they're cracking along, these boys, all right. Yeah, talk about pies. Certainly Abraham didn't eat all the pies, because look at the physique of the young man. Down the belly, he's as fit as a fiddle. Flicks the belly out the back. Oh, blow for the bow. I think the Australian might have gained a shot on him this time round. Did he cheat on the belly? Will it come back to haunt him on the last side? Who knows? But over the top, only one blow in it. In goes Justin Bell for the change of steel. Sam Welsh out with another one on stand number 3. In goes Nation Dixon. Big, strong, relaxed shearer, but he can still pump the iron. All got their 4th one on the board. Cam Hicks down the belly in the first off leg, just coming off as I speak. 1, 2, 3, up, 2 up the back. Off for the top with 1. There he goes, but to the last side. It's now going to be who's done the homework on the undermine and the long blow. Down the last side comes the Aussie. Nathan Meany, but it's Pies Abraham coming here now out the last leg. Oh, Australia still hanging in down on 6. Just by 1, 2 shots. Change of steel for the Aussie now. In goes Abraham up the front. Just a half a sheep behind of the rest of the field as they turn for home. Dixon, Welsh, all pretty close. Hicks as well. Justin Bell about the last one to turn down over the money. Right across the shoulder, using that left hand to up and down with the wool and move the leg as they speak. Down and out to the flank they swing. Oh, sheep number 5 on the board now for Abraham from Masterton. You are pretty quiet, Masterton. 5 minutes and 17 gone. Around the back of the head swings the Australian down the far end. Nathan Meany putting the big shots and good low scores up on the big screen. Sheep number 5 on the board for the other 4. But the pace at either end of the field looking pretty sharp. This is what we like to see, a real tough contest, Norm, as these young shearers are pumping the iron.
You did right. So just on the sly, we've got a Black Ford Ranger at the back there blocking the way somewhere. MKN 816. We need that Ford Ranger move, please. So up on the board, Parata Abraham. 1 sheep left in the pen, but not for long. He's in and out. He just snuck ahead of Nathan Meany now. And Meany hops into the pen as well down the back stand, but the rest of the field swinging through the long blow. So Nation Dixon starting to put the hammer down a wee bit and pull these guys back as well. Long blow time for the big fella on stand number 2 as he slides up the backbone and turns for home. Sam Welsh under the front leg. Front leg time for Cameron Hicks as well, the big tall fella down there on stand number 4. Winds his way out onto the back leg. The not-so-tall fella on stand number 5, he's on the back leg as well, Justin Bell. Well-known tally man, and into the pen he steps for his 6th and final sheep. Right there with Cam Hicks. Nation Dixon right there as well. That one just stands there, didn't want to go out the hole, but he sorted it. In and out he steps, but it's Parata Abraham. That's where the pace is set right here on stand number 1. 6 minutes, 49.50, gone on the clock. Down the last side he pours, into the flank and out to the toe. Parata Abraham. A couple more sweeping blows over the tail, and he'll be looking for the button. There it is. Time taken for your local man on stand number 1. Looking forward to seeing him in action in another round if he can get through. 27.1 at the moment. It might sneak up a wee bit as they judge his last sheep, but when it goes yellow, that'll be his total points. Nation Dixon, fresh front shoulder. He's starting to open those big shoulders up a wee bit now and turning into the long blow. And Nathan Meany stretches his back. He's all done and dusted down there on the back stand. Last front shoulder now for the rest of the field. Juddy Bell down the last side, he paused, but Cam Hicks and Sam Welsh, blow for blow, these guys. Down comes Nation Dixon as well on stand number 2. Right out onto the back leg, but it's going to be Sam Welsh reach for the button. Cam Hicks and Justin Bell almost at the same time. Nation Dixon's going to have the last say, but not by much as he reaches and hits his clock. Well done. Big hand for those guys, ladies and gentlemen. That was heat number 9. Rolling into heat number 10. 15 heats in total in the open shearing. And let's get them up on the board. On stand number 6 from Martin, Jacob Moore. From Invercargill on stand 5, Kevin Kanita. From Wairarapa, Tristan Mackay on 4. Gavin Much from Whangamomona, but originally from Scotland on stand number 3. Hemi Braddock from Ikatahuna on stand number 2. James Rookie from Te Kuiti on stand number 1.
All right, thanks very much. If we were shearing down here, would be blow for blow too. But we're on the press. Absolutely nothing in it. These two champions, there we go. What's the running time for Fiona Healy? She's going to go for number 10 win. 16 minutes 40. That's a ripper. Carmen Smith knows the time points are very valuable. She sticks her hand in the ear too. The time points at the pressing is exactly the same as shearing. It's 1 point every 20 seconds. Right, gives me great pleasure to announce the final. These will be the finalists to have a press off here this afternoon sometime, and that'll unfold, so don't go too far away. So your top qualifier for the individual men's, only 2 go through, is from Masterton with 47.7 points, Vinny Goodger, ladies and gentlemen. He is your top qualifier. And with 53.8 from Napier, Ricky Stevens. That will be a blast. How do I know that? Because they've done 1, 2, this will be, I think, their 3rd time consistently that they've been in the final together. In those cases, Vinny has won the last 3 in a row, so Ricky's going to bring a big game plan, by jolly he is, to try pull that one off. And we're going to know that soon enough.
Okay, we've got a green light. Shearers to the board, please. All good. Everybody happy. Timekeepers right. Judges. Competitors, go. We're off and away this time. Up on the front stand, James Rookie from the Te Kuiti. Oh, there's been a troop of them come down here over the years. From the King Country, Hemi Braddock from Ekatahuna, just up the valley a little bit. And over the hill. And he's loving every moment of this. He sure well on the speed shear last night, by crikey. But this is another set of rules here now, because you've got 6 of the big mothers to shear. Gavin Much from up in the Naki, the Whangamomona Terror. Flying the Scottish flag once again. On stand number 3, stand number 4, Tristan Mackay from Wairarapa. Swooping round that first off shoulder. Kevin Kanita from Invercargill down there on stand number 5. Coming over the last side of the money side of the sheep. A little bit back, Jacob Moore from Martin. One of the younger guns in the open here, but you need to get out of being a pop gun and get into being a real houser, because the competition is real tough up here. Down the hole, and what do we do? Not too many moments as the Hemi Braddock gets in ahead of James Rookie on the front stand. Then goes the Invercargill speedster down there on 5. Jacob Moore, a little bit of trouble sliding that one down the porthole. The lights are on downstairs and the judges are judging as we speak. Here, Gavin Much from Whangamomona around the back of the head. leading the way now. He likes to crack on with the job as he drops into the long blow second time round. As we look at the yellow screen up there, all those names that you see above 30 are no good to us. We need to be under 30. So if you've got a high score, you're in big trouble. And thanks for coming. But we've still got a bit of fun to have here at the Golden Shears, even if you've missed out on the next round. Up over the top comes Tristan McKay. Up over the last side now comes Jacob Moore, who's starting to wind into his task. He's got ahead of Kevin Kanita there on stand number 5. Turning for home and down on the last side comes the Invercargill lad, but as Gavin Much swings out number 3 here on the front stand, James Rookie still trailing Braddock as he goes down into the deep depths of the last side. Look at him pushing that comb, trying to fill it up, trying to keep it above the skin, doing a marvellous job. You can almost eat your breakfast off that last side. Beautiful stuff. Under the shoulder comes the Wairarapa man. Another change of sheep there on 5. Looking pretty good, Norman. We're almost halfway through the job.
You're almost halfway through, and 2 minutes and 50 seconds gone on the clock. So Gavin Much, too much Gavin Much, and he swings through the long blow and heads for home. Back up to the cheek. Down onto the last front shoulder for Gavin Much. Fongamomana. And he's under the front leg, so this guy got a real quick hand. He just attacks everything in sight, this fella. And we've seen it time and time again, and it works for him too. Right out to the toe. Another couple of shots, and he's looking for sheep number 4. And in and out of the pen he goes, so he hits that pen door just as hard as he hits everything else, this fella. Gavin Much, the Scotsman, on stand number 3, way down the belly, leading the field. And down the last side for Hemi Braddock, this young fella, terrific young shearer. A lot of talent, as have all these fellas up here on the open stage. Round into the first front shoulder of Tristan McKay. Another couple of shots, and he hits the long blow, 2 short blows, and a big sweeping blow right through to the base of the ear. Round he goes, and he's going to turn for home very shortly. Kevin Kanita already been there and done that. He's on the last leg, just as James Rookie is. And Jacob Moore, the big fella down in the back stand. Way down the belly, he goes on sheep number 4. In goes James Rookie. In goes Kevin Kanita from Invercargill. James Rookie from Te Kuiti. Another sheep on the board for him. Way down the belly he goes. Wipes it off. Beautiful shearer, this fella. Beautiful style. Easy as. Just places the blows, and like a lot of these top shearers, beautiful rhythm. Up the undermine he sweeps.
You right, Emily? 150. David Ewan. 150. Good luck, Hunter.
So back on the board with heat number 10. 15 heats in total of open shearers here today, John. So fantastic entries once again in the open, as we've seen in all the other grades and all the disciplines we've been involved with so far at the Golden Shears. So they've all come out to play today.
It's been absolutely marvellous, of course. But we've got time gone now of 5 minutes as Gavin Much drops into the long blow on sheep number 5. 1 left in the box. In goes Jacob Moore, who's starting to feel the acid a little bit down on number 6, but he's right on the heels of Hemi Braddock. James Rookie very casually steps into the pen, but he's full of business on the front stand. Down the last side comes the Invercargill flyer down there, working out the last leg, Kevin Kanita. Over the last side comes Tristan McKay, but Gavin Much has got a sheep around him. Rolls it out and down the hole he goes in for the 6th and final one. Keeping the pressure on. He got that one done pretty well. A little bit of time up his sleeve maybe, but he's got to remember that there's other heats to come. He flicks the belly out the back. You don't want to be inside that 7 minutes because that's 21 points. And then you got a few tack-ons with your board points and your outside points. And they can all add up if you have a bit of a bad sheep. Over the last side comes the Yakarahuna Speedster. Doing pretty well. Watch this fella come through the grades over years, and he's a pleasure to watch. Look at him burn off that last side. That is as flat as a pancake. Look, not a ripple on it. Down the hole it goes. They won't get nothing off that one outside.
Might just jump in there, John. Thank you very much. So the last heat of the semi down here, press 1, Emily Tikapapa from Scotland. And we have press 2, Coco Namana. So good luck, girls. Presses are ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go.
Yeah, Gavin Much comes out the last leg. Oh, got a bit of a dancer. This one could be end up down the dog tucker shed, but Love is too good for that. He's making a good job of it. Just struggled a little bit. He's got in 6 and 55 or thereabouts. A good shear from Gavin from up there in the Naki, the Welsh Taranaki-ite. Who's next in line? It could be Tristan Mackay, as you know, he's still got one in the pen. It's going to be Jacob Moore coming across the shoulder. No, Rabbi Braddock got ahead of him now as he comes out the last leg there. Kahuna lad putting the big shots in. Done a good job too by Crikey. Good score, good board card. Lovely stuff for Jacob Moore on the 6 stand. Right down and out to the flank he goes. Big ones coming in. Down that first off leg for Tristan Mackay. 2 shots. 3 up over the tail. He said, I want an easy last leg. As though James Rookie comes to the top now. Down and out the money. Look at him now. Straight from the middle of the shoulder. Right out the last leg. One of the longest shots on the sheep. Phil and Combe making it easy. Good rhythm. Sheep behaves itself. Done and dusted here on the front. Righto. Also finished down there is Kevin Kanita. So we've just got Tristan Mackay to complete the task here on stander number 4. Beautiful. They're a pleasure to watch these guys. You can just see it's like poetry in motion. Peas in a pod cover the Shearers. Easy to work with as far as us and the commentary team go, and they're making a very good spectacle for the public. And I hope you appreciate it when these Shearers walk off the board, and give them a good round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. They're good Shearers and, well, great athletes up there.
And their next heat are ready to go up. They can take the stage now on stand number 6, Andrew Noble Campbell from Pukikawa. Jack Fagan on 5 from Te Kuiti. On 4, Hugh DeLacy from Rangiora. David Buick on stand number 3 from Ponaroa. 2, Damien Boyle, our Australian mate up here. And on stand number 1, Ringakaha Pāwai from Gore.
All right, we'll bring it back down to the press here. Just interrupt when you're ready. So Emily here from Scotland, as mentioned, from a place called Lockenhead. So that's get into it, Emily. The call is she's a favourite as she really stomps those corners and getting that wool really tight in there. The other thing you'll see them do, and Coco has won this event, ladies and gentlemen, a few years ago, okay? Not as in heaps of years. I know a few is very hard to quantify, but it might have been whatever 4 or 5 years ago. So she's pretty sharp. Now, the other thing you'll see when they wind these boxes up, you may have noticed that sometimes they will pull wool out, and I talked about them using their feet to get an idea of the weight. And when that box is sitting up here and they haven't let it down yet, you'll see some of them pull wool out, okay? And what's happened there, and sometimes you'll see them put wool in. Okay, so what's going on there is they've had the advantage of winding this box up. Okay, so they've felt it under their feet, saying, yes, it's about such and such. Then they feel it on the pressure of the handle. And they think, it might feel like that under my feet, but that's too light. And that's when they'll go for these handfuls and start stuffing it in between the boxes before they drop that top box down.
Right,
ready to load.
Thank you. Okay, Shearers to the board, please. Referee's given us the hand. Awesome stuff. We're good to go. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go. We're off on another one. Ringakaha Paiwai. I'm down on the deep south. We've got the Australian Damien Ball on the second stand. Poronga Road, one of the local favourites, David Buick on number 3. Hugh DeLacy from Rangiora on stand at number 4. On number 5, Jack Fagan down from the King Country. And down on the far end, we got from Pukikawa, Andrew Noble Campbell. So a little bit of pace set in that last heat, Norm, these guys. They've got the advantage of Shearing at heat number 11. Can they make the most of it as they swing down into that first off shoulder? David Buick says, I'm going to go for the doctor. What sort of time does he get in this one? Is 38, 40 seconds gone so far, so he's going to be in the high 50s by the time he finishes. Under and down and out to the flank, stroking it along. 4 shots to go. Let him roll out. He's going to make it in 56, is he? Yeah, that's about where it ends up, Norm. That's pretty sharp.
It's pretty sharp, all right. So that's where he wants to be. David Burke, of course, one of the favourites here as well. Jack Fagan, the young fella down there from Tikwiti on stand number 5. Turns into the first hind leg. He's got a couple of shots on David at this stage. He's making the most of these beautiful big ewes. Top of the head coming off on stand 5 for Jack. Into the top of the head now for David Buick. Out on the board for Ringa Kahapawai and for Damien Boyle. On stand number 2, Big Damien. Well-known fine wool shearer around the world. Turns into the first hind leg. And Hugh DeLacy was second in that final last night at the speed share. And he's going pretty damn good, this young fella. Good shed shearer, just starting to set into his rhythm a bit on the sheds. Strong, hard worker, as a lot of these young fellas are. And away through the long blow he goes. Another couple of shots and he'll turn for home. So expecting big things from Hugh in years to come. And he's making a good start. So down over the last front shoulder, just as David Buick heads into the pen, got a shot on Jack this time. John?
That Hugh DeLacy wouldn't be named after his father, would he?
Oh, very similar name.
Oh, okay. Bit of a hard case as Hugh DeLacy Senior, I can tell you. Here we go. David Buick up down the mine. 1, 2 whoppers. Look at it. Looked easy to the man from up the road in Pongaroa. Down the side of the cheek he goes, around the back of the head. There's been a few Buick shearing here this year. Right in the junior grades and even up into the super greats. So they've had a lot of fun here at Masterton for 2020. Another sheep on the board on down number 6 for Andrew Noble Campbell. 2 shots up over the tail. Jack Fagan is into the long blow there on 5. Around the first off shoulder comes Hugh DeLacy on 4. But it's Buick down the last side. The other 2 up the front here. Boyle from Australia is up the neck. Likewise as Paiwai from Gore. But the half a sheep off the pace. And David Buick says, I've got time to change of hampies. 3 and 15 gone. He's in for number 4. Doesn't worry about looking down the board to see where the next pace is coming from. He just knows about his business and wants to make that last 6. But the aim at the moment is to get into that top 30. The next cut, we lose 60 shearers. That's a hell of a cull. We don't get a hiding for it because they just see the points on the board and they know they could have done better. Up over the top comes the Buick. Change of steel now for DeLacy. In goes Noble Campbell down the far end. Up over the top comes Jack Fagan. Gently cruising it on the youngster from Tigawiti. Well, not so young anymore. Ringakai Paiwai. In for sheep number 4. Boyle's got the belly off and down the first off leg, and Buick, though, turns for home, coming across the shoulder. Making it look easy is DeLacy there. A little bit of a giggle and wriggle from that sheep, but he's back on top of it again, and round the back of the head he swings. Keeping it going. In they come. What do you got for us, Kerry?
Heat number 12, Nathan Stratford, Dennis O'Sullivan, Mark Granger, Terry Edmonds, Richard Pearson, and Brett Roberts. You guys be ready, please.
So back up onto the board. First hind leg this time for David Buick, sheep number 5. 1 left in the pen for the big fella from Ponaroa. And Jack Fagan. Change of steel and in and out he steps. Hugh DeLacy, another couple of shots, and he'll be looking for sheep number 5 as well. Right out to the toe for Andrew Noble Campbell down there on the back stand. Another couple of shots, and he's in looking for 5. He's just a shot behind Hugh DeLacy, and goes Ringa Kahapawai, in goes Damien Boyle. Out onto the board they step together, so turning for home on sheep number 5 with 1 left in the pen. is David Buick on stand number 3. Down over the last front shoulder he drops. DeLacy into the top of the head and up the neck, but Jack Fagan's a couple of shots out on him, and he's way through the long blow, sweeps the wool off the backbone of the sheep and turns for home. Sliding out onto the back leg is David Buick. Beautiful share of this guy. I've said it many, many times, and it's a fact because I've never been wrong before, John. And I'm not wrong this time. David Buick, what an economical style that guy's got. Right out onto the through the belly and into the first hind leg. He's going to step just as Ringakar Pawai's putting the gas on a wee bit. He's been going all right too, this guy on the show. He's hitting his straps a bit in the open, making all the big finals and going really, really good on stand number 1. So he's right back there with Hugh DeLacy this time. He was a few shots back off last time. Just got a couple of good sheep left for last. Hopefully he's got one more good one in the pen. Ringakar Pawai over the tail. Back with Hugh DeLacy, and just fact, he's just a shot ahead of him. And Andrew Noble Campbell back out onto the board of the sheep number 6. But turning for home, David Buick down over the last front shoulder. Just as Damien Boyle flies in and out of the pen. David Buick under the leg, cleans it off. No fribs left there for the judges to penalise him for. Right out to the toe. Beautiful flowing blow, just sweeps the wool off the backside of the sheep, over the tail, out it goes, wham bam. Thank you, Lamb.
Yeah, 6 and 52 there for the Buick. Hey, that's not a bad shear. There's still the pressure coming on though. Jack Fagan down the last side. He's going to be next off the cut. It's surprising me down there. Andrew Noble Campbell, he says he hasn't given up. He's a very experienced competitor, and he's coming under the shoulder as Fagan slides his 6-1 down the border and hits the stop button. To the top of the shoulder is Paiwai here on the front. Over the shoulder now, DeLacy on the 4 stand as Campbell drops his down the hole. A little bit of different style from our Australian here on stand number 2. You'll notice that later on too in the program when we get into the Merinos and what have you in the Trans-Tasman. But he's shearing them pretty well. Paiwai finishing touches there. DeLacy's hung up the steel. Out the last leg of this one. It's just under shade under 8 minutes. We're going to get it done, ladies and gentlemen. Another good shear from 6 great competitors.
Dead right, John. Great competitors they are. Let's get the next heat up on the board, please. On stand number 6 from Invercargill, Nathan Stratford. From Ireland on stand 5, Dennis O'Sullivan. From Te Kuiti on stand number 4, Mark Granger. From Raitahi on stand number 3, Turi Edmonds. Richard Pearson from Carterton on 2, Brett Roberts on stand number 1 from Matoda. This is heat 12 of 15. Not too many go to John. We've worked our way through most of them, and we're looking for the top 30. Gerald, how's it going down there, mate?
Yeah, I'm going well. There's a fair bit of effort coming here from Emily. She, on the front press here, she's managed to get that down. Started off with the old rope in the wrong place, which can happen, those finer details, but she got onto that quickly. You let the safety off, let her go, restarted. And now she's on the broom. It's a big sweep up time. And Coco here, well, she's at this stage here. What's she got? Town and Country, it says The Block, Masterton, underlined, and then a wee picture of a love heart. So she loves this hometown of hers as she finishes off these last couple notches. Emily said it's time for some light duties, and she fires over the way there. She's multi-talent. She's a cocktail barmaid. She's a sales assistant. She's a pub quiz champion. She's a shearer. Favourite sports are darts, soft tip darts, swimming, butterfly, and pressing, of course. Years of competing at the Golden Shears, 7 years. Never won an event, only the people's hearts. So there you go. There's the Emily Takapa. And she's winding the top box up now. I'm going to let loose. We'll stay here, interrupt whenever you're ready. Now they're going to swing this round. Now these safety issues, when you drop this top box, you'll see Coco doing it. You've got to keep a good hold of that handle there, okay? Doesn't look much. You take your hand off the handle and it slips. It starts firing, okay? It'll be done, I don't know how many revolutions per minute, but it's a heap. and it normally smacks you right smack on the forearm. Hopefully it's just a big bruise, but it can be way beyond that with a break.
Thank
You've got
you,
to keep a
Gerald.
good hold. These are some of the things these judges are watching out for.
Thank you, Gerald. Awesome. Shearers to the board, please. Come on, out of there. Osh demands it. You'll get a toe stood on. 75 kilos of sheep will hurt like heck. Okay, we're about ready to go, are we? Oh, I don't know. What do you want to excuse yourself or something? You got your hands up. Somebody holding a bow and arrow at you. Kevin, be strong. So just a wee while the referee's being questioned about the validity of that sheep. They'll be trying their hardest to get one sent down the porthole. If you're in the shed, you'd have to shear it. You can't chuck it over to your mate. We're good to go, Kev? Come on, Mark, let's go. He's not that shy. He's been in shearing competitions for years. Very good. Thank you, Kevin. We're good to go. Timekeeper's right. Judges, competitors, go. We're into the pen once again. They'll try the referee left, right and centre, these top competitors. But as a committee, we install strong-willed people and say, get on with it, lad. You can't pull the wool over. Can't bullshit a bullshitter. Here comes Richard Pearson on the second stand. Look at him. He's been shearing in the Evergreens earlier on. He's back up for another smash around. But the front man here is Brent Roberts from Matara, one of the South Brigade. Oh, Norm can't wait to get his teeth around talking about this fella. Terry Edmonds from Right to He is on the third stand. Down on number 4 is Mark Granger, and that's the sheep he wanted chucked out, and he's shearing it like a wizard. He comes across the last side. Down on stand number 5, we have Dennis O'Sullivan sweeping down. He's under the Irish flag, and look at him poking out that last leg. Down the far end is Nathan Stratford from the deep south. Oh, he's got a bit of Highlander colour on himself at the moment. He's supporting his rugby team down there by the look of it. Then on the front stand comes the Matara Marauder. Look at him go, this big, strong young fella.
He is a big, strong young fella too. Top rugby player as well as Brett Roberts. And into the first hind leg he turns. Been shearing very, very well again this season. Right up the undermine he sweeps. 1, 2. Into the top of the head. Richard Pearson, number 1 out the hole. The big fella strolls in for a second sheep. Teddy Edmonds, top of the head. Mark Granger up the neck. Dennis O'Sullivan, all the way from Ireland on the stand number 5. Swings it around, lays it into the long blow, but Nathan Stratford's already been there and done that. He's just one shot from turning for home on sheep number 2. Turning for home he is, and down over the last front shoulder of a big straighty down there. All wrapped up like a Christmas present under the front leg. And away down the last side he paws. So Dennis O'Sullivan, front leg for him. Brett Roberts, front leg for him. Down the last side he comes, the big fella on stand number 1. Right out to the toe, another couple of shots for him, and he'll be looking for number 3. So he pulled back a couple of shots on Nathan Stratford on this sheep. Dennis O'Sullivan, there he's rolled in front of Dennis O'Sullivan. Dennis O'Sullivan hops in for his third sheep as well. In goes Teddy Edmonds. Teddy Edmonds on the board with 3. Another couple of shots and Mark Granger will be there. Richard Pearson winds his way through the long blow and down over the last front shoulder. Closely watched through the somewhat bleary eyes of Rabbit McLaren up there, the judge on stand number 2. Under the front leg and away down the last side he paws. Teddy Edmonds into the top of the head. Top of the head, or he's already been there as Dennis O'Sullivan because he's up the neck this time. But Nathan Stratford, John, Shearing nicely down the back stand, way through into the long blow he goes, firing the steel in as he always does.
Oh, just thinking that the colour he's got on, most of the top athletes have dreadlocks and put a few ribbons in there, and Nathan can't go dreadlocks, so he's taped the ribbons to his arms, and he's doing all right though. He's holding himself together as he comes down the last side. He just clamps down on that sheep, working across the shoulder. It was being a bit naughty that you could see the daylight up through the door there and was wanting to be gone. But he's an experienced enough competitor to come down the last side and just pop the head forward and rocket out that last leg. Brent Roberts is starting to come at him here. Likewise, Turi Edmonds down the hole. I think it might be Edmonds slightly edging Stratford and changes steel here on the front stand. Brent Roberts not happy with the cut. Third sheep on the board. Third one out for Mark Granger. Likewise, the Irishman O'Sullivan. Richard Pearson's got a little bit of work to do. Sheep number 4 for those guys. That figures was a bit slow changing. Richard Pearson into the long blow on the third one, second stand. Oh, swings the big leg over now. She is around the Carterton area. Been around for a decade or two, by golly. Believe it or not, he's sure in the 65 to 75 group. And he's still smashing it off, coming across the shoulder on the last side. But you could have put a blanket over the other 5. Look at them, they're all on the long blow together. Who's going to swing for home? It's Brent Roberts first. Over the top now comes Turahuri Edmonds. Works off the shoulder now does Mark Granger and Nathan Stratford and the Irishman O'Sullivan as well. Working across sheep number 4, almost done. In goes Richard for number 4. He's not that far behind. But these fellas are going to go further because they're having a heck of a battle here. In goes Roberts up here on the front. Nathan Stratford changes steel. Edmonds steps into the pen mark. Granger right there, the Irishman to follow.
Heat number 13, Lionel Tomata, Daniel McIntyre, Aaron Haynes, Ethan Pankhurst, and Martini Mason. You guys be ready, please.
So sheep 5 on the board for most of the field. Just Richard Pearson working his way through sheep number 4. Long blow time for Brett Roberts. That's where the pace is coming from on the front stand. The big fella winds into the long blow. Fires the steel in towards the base of the ear and another shot. And he's going to be turning for home very shortly. But Nathan Stratford right there with him again. Nathan Stratford 1 blow behind Brett Roberts. The 2 Southland boys on either end of the field here. Go the south as Brett Roberts cleans off under the leg and away down into the flank, but Nathan Stratford right back there with him under the leg for the rest of the field as well. Down they come to the Edmonds, Mark Granger, Dennis O'Sullivan, blow for blow as they wind out onto the hind leg, but Stratford's out, Brett Roberts is out. The 2 Southland boys having a bit of a crack at each other from either end of the field, and in goes Mark Granger, Tootie Edmonds and Dennis O'Sullivan all together. Richard Pearson back out on the board with another one, but he's on sheep number 5 this time. One more left in the pen for Richard Pearson, but the rest of the field are on their last sheep. Ooh, Brett's got a bit of a niggler. Up under the chin he goes. Bit of a struggle to get going there, so that just allows Nathan Stratford to get a couple of shots out in front of him as he swings round and into the long blow. 2 short ones. Sweeps up to the backbone, steps across with his right foot and turns for home. Brett Roberts chasing hard. Another couple of shots for him and he'll be heading for home as well. But down over the last front shoulder for the wee fella down the far end. Right down under the back leg. Nathan Stratford rolls around under the hamstring. Over the tail. He'll be looking for the button very, very shortly. Time clock has stopped down there for Nathan Stratford. Well done, Stratty. And Corny down the last side. He paws. Right out to the toe. Ooh, Mark Granger. He put the gas on that sheep as well, so he's done and dusted. Right there, just a second ahead of Corny Roberts. And down comes Tootie Edmonds and Dennis O'Sullivan. Dennis O'Sullivan, the Irishman on stand number 5. He straightens his back. Tootie Edmonds rolls over the tail. And he's all set too. So his points will all go through as soon as that sheep's judged. Richard Pearson, right out to the toe. One more sheep left in this pen for this young fella. Rolls over the tail and out the hole it goes. So He's just got a year or two on these other fellas, just maybe 3 years.
3 times 30. Hey, he's we just alluded to his age there before, but he's a good competitor. Keeps everybody honest. And he swings down now down the first off leg. Still got, hasn't him worried about putting a sweatband on. I haven't seen him grab the sweat towel yet, so he's still capable of doing a few. He gets out down around Carterton and goes to the work in the morning and knocks off at lunchtime. Still doing it every day. Making it look easy though. Round the first off leg he goes. No panic and hustle. The sheep with a big grip he's got and quite strong knees. He just manages to hold the sheep in pretty good order as he swings round onto the last side for the sixth and final time. Time points are going to be against him, but he's keeping the job right on the board for the judges. They're not getting too many off him. Some of those scores are pretty good, low up there, 1.33, 1 on the board. That's an average of 1 second cut over those 6 sheep. So that's a good score. There goes Richard Pearson, ladies and gentlemen. Grand effort from the very experienced competitor.
Right, we'll just keep this going down here. Just give me 1 second, we'll get it started. Okay, we're into the pairs semis now. A fair bit at stake because later on tonight the final will be under the bright lights with a full audience. Okay, so press 1 is Kushla Abraham and David Gordon. Press 2 is Joe Gordon and Adam Gordon. Kushla's maiden name is Gordon. So we have 3 brothers and 1 sister. Family rivalry. In that case, presses are ready. It's going to be fast and furious. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go. Thank you.
Thanks, Gerald. So the presses are in it, and let's get these guys into it as well. Down there on stand number 5, Lionel Tolmata from Gore. Daniel McIntyre from Australia on stand 4. Aaron Haynes from Fielding on stand 3. Ethan Pankhurst from Masterton on stand 2. And all the way from Masterton on stand number 1 is Martinia Mason. Getting down to it now. 5 shearers in this heat. 5 in the next heat. And 1 more heat after that. So a good lineup of top shearers again here. And Daniel McIntyre, our Australian representative here, having a crack in this heat. And he can get around crossbreds too, this fella. He can really share. But Aaron Haynes, strong contender there in the middle of the field on stand number 3. And a couple of young fellas up the front, a couple of local young fellas too. Speaking of young fellas, a young fella down the back as well. So Martini Mason, Ethan Pankhurst and Lionel Tomata, pretty much the next generation of top shearers coming through.
Well, yeah, they're just out of the senior competition and they've competed very well. But at the top of the heap at the moment is Rolly Smith with a 23.9. So, I talked about you needed to be inside that mid-20s, or the mid in the section between 25 and 30. And there we go, up to number 20 and his 30 points. So Bart Hadfield, he snuck in. Crikey, we've still got another 10 to add to that. But there's a chance that those places will change as we get on with the rest of the shearing. We have the green light, gentlemen. Could we have you on the board, please? I would have guessed it. Referee to 1. So at the moment, the unlucky one is Lewis Pincole. He's the unlucky one to miss out on the top 30 at this stage of the draw. I don't think he'll cry too much and won't go home to Chile. He'll stay here in the Waimate. So as Kevin checks it out. Beautiful sheep. You got no chance of selecting the one that's if you're going to get one thrown back in. Are we good to go now? Oh, there must be a rough truck driver out there or something. Is he out there with a bucket of sand, chucking it a bit around the head? I can tell you they are not. They haven't had time, those truck drivers and all the pen staff out the back. They've been absolutely marvellous. Getting the sheep here on time. You Masterton guys actually selected the sheep. You must have had something wrong with the eyes that day when you were crutching them up. Oh, coronavirus, is that what it is? It snuck in on us. We didn't know. Once again, I'd ask competitors just to be safe with their gear. Make sure that you put it with somebody you know, or make sure it is not on display when you have your vehicle in the car park. Be wise, be safe.
So while we're waiting for the referee, we have our women's shearing invitation members, the girls that will share in this event in the morning: Emily Welsh, Laura Bradley, Sarah Higgins, Pagan Karodia, Emily Tikapa, and Catherine Maluli. Those shearers will share in the morning in the women's shearing invitation event. So looking forward to that one.
Ethan Pankhurst, I didn't see his father chuck him one out in the finals earlier on.
No, didn't worry him. He'd just shear anything in front of him.
Yeah. We need to have a word to his boy. But they do have the right to call the ref. If you've seen what the referee's allowed you, get out of the pen. We need you on the front.
All right, we might stay down here for a second while they're doing their last finishing touches of sorting up. You'll notice there's a synchronised pressing at the moment. All the Gordons are giving us some sticks. 3 brothers and 1 sister. The 2 youngsters over here, look at them, full of power. Here we go, it's the big wind down. So Joe's going to go probably 80% of the way, and then the cavalry will arrive. And you know who that's going to be? It'll be Adam, and he'll come in and he'll jump lower on that big bar and give him a bit of a hand. We're good to go now, are we, Norm?
Yeah, finally. Wow, no, not quite. Oh.
We're getting close anyway, bit of a jump here. Has the cavalry's arrived now. Adam's arrived on this baby. Kushner's arrived over here. Come on, big bro, give us some stick. Well, they've got a long way to go. Come on, Masterton, you give some help.
We're good to go up here on the front. Timekeeper's good. Judges, competitors, go. We're off on this one after a little bit of a tetchy discussion with the referee. We've finally got the competitors out of the board. And Martini Mason from Masterton, Ethan Pankhurst from Masterton, Aaron Haynes from Fielding, Daniel McIntyre, Australia, and Lionel Taumata from Gore. Oh, big strong Taumata down the far end. That's not Tomata, it's Taumata. He's not a bit of a right picking fruit, this fella. He's just a powerhouse of a shearer. And he's not been up in the open class too long. But he knows how to whip the wool off, and he's a jovial chap to boot. Good to talk to, and it acknowledges anybody and helps everybody right throughout the industry. Good to see him here again, as McIntyre has been here a few times before from Australia, representing the baggy greens over there, and he comes out the last leg. He might be the first one to go in for the drop. There he goes, sneaks into the pen. Aaron Haynes, out the last leg he comes. The lad from up the road in Fielding, and then there's a couple of local lads up here on the front, Martini Mason and Ethan Pankhurst. Under the shoulder and down and out to the flank, Taumata as well. They're trying to keep it sweet, but the pace is on and stands 3 and 4, Norman.
Yeah, that's where it's coming from. So Daniel McIntyre, terrific Australian shearer, into the top of the head and up the neck he steps. A minute and a half on the clock, and he's halfway through his second sheep. Out comes big Lionel Taumata down there, the young fella from Gore. Winds his way up the undermine into the top of the head. Aaron Haynes, quite a strong contender here. Judging, looking at his paper record anyway. Swings into the First front shoulder and drops into the long blow. Up comes Ethan Pankhurst. Martini Mason shearing right. He's away round into the long blow and finishing touches. He'll turn for home, but Daniel McIntyre is leading the field. Down the last side he pulls, Gary.
Heat number 14, John Hand, Toe Henderson, Alan Grant, Digger Barn, and Troy Piper. You guys
Right.
come down there ready, please.
What's the time?
Martini
Holy
Mason
smoke.
finishing touches right over the tail, and he's going to drop that one out the hole.
Might dive in there, Norm. We're
Go for it.
8 minutes 34 seconds. The two youngsters, it's been synchronised all the way apart from here. They're coming in with a big flurry and a big finish. Look at that, folks. 8:41. She's a fast game. Then we've got David and Kushla. How many seconds behind are they going to be? It's 1 point every 20 seconds. Kushla's still thinking about the house cleaning. Bit of a tidy up. David's standing there saying, come on, babe, that's her. No, are we done? Yeah, that'll do her. Looks across to the young bros and says, okay, you got us on time points at the moment. Thanks, Norm.
Thank you, Gerald. So Daniel McIntyre still leading the field as he drops down over the last front shoulder, swinging around into the long blows. Lionel Tormata. So Lionel starting to put the hammer down. He's caught the rest of the field up. Finishing touches for Aaron Haynes into the long blow, and he turns there right with Martini Mason and Lionel Tormata. Round comes Ethan Pankhurst now, but Daniel McIntyre over the tail, and out it goes. Sheep number 4, John, on the board and stepping back out. Aaron Haynes slides down the backside of the sheep, brings the head through in a good fluid movement. That was well done, Aaron, and round under the leg. Ethan Pankhurst right there. Martini Mason right there on stand 1, and in they go together. Lionel Tormata. But Daniel McIntyre got his gear going nicely, shearing nicely, got a good rhythm. Up the undermine he sweeps and into the top of the head on sheep number 4.
Okay, we've just had a couple of barns weighed. So Joe and Adam Gordon here, the two youngsters. We're looking for a 160 and we got a 158.5. Okay, that's about whatever, 1% out. Kushla Abraham and David Gordon got a 163.5. Okay, so they're both very, very close. Very close. Okay, thanks, Norm.
We've just had an FPOS card handed in. Somebody likes to come up and give us a call for it, and tell us what colour it is and what have you. An FPOS card being handed in. Thank you to the kind people that have been bringing monetary items back to the announcers table. Martini Mason up here in the front stand comes across to the last side, working away at his job. Likewise as Ethan Pankhurst, a little bit behind Aaron Haynes now as he steps into the pen, but it's Daniel McIntyre, the first with number 5 on the board. Swooping blows up over the tail from the Aussie. Lionel Tamari had a quick gink along the board there as he flicks the belly out the back. Rolls down that first off leg now. Big shots for the undermine coming up. Just eases his sheep flatter a bit on the board so he can get that comb right up along the backbone, one either side. Steps forward up the neck. That's a beautiful big ewe. Probably in the vicinity of 72 kgs as he goes around the back of the head. If she starts to decide she wants to control him, he will not have much of a challenge. He's going to have a lot of work to control this sheep, but he's sitting nicely at the moment. He rocks onto the last side. Pretty easy going as Aaron Haynes comes across the shoulder as well. Into the long blow, both here on the front stand. Pankhurst and Mason. Martini Mason's been shearing for the Woolhandlers for the last couple of days. So his hand will be pretty soft at the moment as he comes across the shoulder. Working away under the shoulder and down and out the flank he swings as Aaron Haynes steps into the pen. Talmata's right behind him. But Australia's still out in front, McIntyre. Good low scorecard inside at the moment. 2.5 shots up over the tail. In go the front two. Martini Mason, number 6 on the board. Ethan Pankhurst, last to drag out the one out of the box. Down the belly with 3.5 shots. Into the first off shoulder and sweeping round is Daniel McIntyre, but coming back in is Aaron Haynes here from Fielding. The Kiwis kept his best one to last, as he into the long blow goes Taumata. He likes to swing it hard and swing it long, and he's making everyone a winner as he turns for home. He's only 3 or 4 shots off the pace. As across the shoulder comes the Australian, under the shoulder and down and out to the Fielding lad, Aaron Haynes. We're down and out to the flank for Taumata as well, but it's Haynes going to be the fastest last side. Taumata's coming at him down the far end, but it's going to be Haynes and 7 and 25. McIntyre and Taumata pretty close together. And we've got 6 or 7 shots left here on the front stand as Martini Mason comes under the shoulder. Ethan Pankhurst has got it in front of him this time round. And out comes the shots from Martini Mason. Been shearing well here at the Shears. Well done, Shearers. That's heat number 13.
And heat 14, let's get him up on the stand. On stand number 5 from Australia, John Hand. From Guy Walker on stand number 4, Tor Henderson. From Scotland on 3, Alan Grant. Tigger Balm from Otrahonga on stand number 2, and Troy Piper from Amberley in North Canterbury on stand number 1. So just waiting. As the referee works his way down the pen. Gerald, what do you got going on down there, mate?
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like all the novice pressers just up here, please. If you come down this end and just grab a seat here, we'll have a presentation soon after this peers. So this is where we're up to, Norm. We are into the second heat of the semi-final of the peers pressing. It's fast and furious. We've had all the Gordons, of course, just now. So, press 1, we've got Jeremy Goodger and Vinnie Goodger. Press 2, Conan Harmon Gray and Shane Harmon. Two brothers. Presses are ready. Judges, on your marks, set, go. Yes, so plenty of action. Interrupt when you're ready, Shearing commentators. Yeah. Right, watch this. It will be fast and furious. These guys, even though they are the same bloodline, they've done a lot of pressing together. They instinctively know where each other will be and what needs to be done. Okay, what's that like? I don't know. It's just a sort of a spiritual sort of thing where you can sort of sense where they're going to be without actually physically knowing. As Vinny goes to work, look at those big arms of his. Look at that big pile of wool pouring into there. Jeremy saying, okay, I'll just get everything organised. We want the corner of those packs banged out, okay. We're on a second run here. Talking about that, I'd like to say a big thank you to Farmlands.
Righto, let's go. Excuse me, Gerald.
Woolpacks New Zealand. Thank you, John.
Righto, we've got the Shearers on the board. With the all clear from the referee. The orange shirts are ready to go. Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. Oh, here we are, heat 14. Roy Piper from Amberley in the south. Up in the King Country is Dig Balm from Otrahonga. Helen Grant from Scotland. Toa Henderson from Kaiwaka down there on the deep south. Right on the far end of the island. Down there on the far end, another ex-New Zealander, or say a returning New Zealander, John Hand from Australia. John's Shaw in the veterans or the Evergreens class earlier in the day. Picked up a little bit of prize as well and got a ribbon to boot. So he's happy as a sandboy and he's going to just let loose in this one. And he's first or second to get into the long blow. Digger Balm, the old tour cow flyer we used to call him. He's swinging for home. He's an evergreen too, but he just doesn't know when to give up. He just loves the daily challenger to go in and picking up the handpiece. Under the shoulder and down out to the flank comes Troy Piper. Henderson 5 on stand number 4 coming under the shoulder as well, but it could be John Hand. Norm sneaks into the pen.
And he does, Troy Piper right there. There's Digger Balm. Tor Henderson, another couple of shots. He's going pretty good at the moment as well, and he steps in and out of the pen. Alan Grant under the front leg and away down the last side before he gets number 2 out. But Piper and Balm bellies out together, one forward, one back, and into the first hind leg they slide. John Hand down the far end. First hind leg for him, first hind leg for Tor Henderson, so not much as they all step through into the top of the head and up the neck. Troy Piper, strong contender, been going really good down south, into the base of the ear and around the back of the head he slides. Digger Balm can never ever count this fella out of anything, so round into the front shoulder for Digger. Tor Henderson just starting to hit his straps as well in the competitions. Away he goes, had a win or two this season. Turning for home though is Troy Piper. Down over the last front shoulder, around comes John Hand and Digger Balm, and around Tor Henderson's already been there and done that as he works his way under the front leg and down the last side. But Troy Piper's going to be the first one into the pen by the look of it for sheep number 3. One more blow over the tail and another very well shorn sheep heads out the hole. Tor Henderson right there with him on stand 4. Out they come. Digger Balm head forward, so the sheep must have been straining, and in there with John Hand. John Hand down the back end with an experienced haircut there is John Hand. Way down the belly he goes, so he's been around a year or two, this fella, that's for sure, John.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking he's roughly about my vintage, and he's shearing a damn sight faster than I'd ever get it off at the moment. As he rolls up under the tail, off with the top knot. Just slipping back off the pace a little bit. He's realised he went out hard and fast on that first one and spooked everybody. And now he's got to hang on in because there's still another 3 in the pen. Alan Grant finishing touches. He was in the blade shear earlier on in the day in the competition. So he's had a couple of goes of just driving the wool off with a pair of snippers. But Digger Balm turns for home here on stand number 2. Troy Piper right on his tail. But down the front it could be Toa Henderson on the 4 stand. He's starting to hit his straps as he rolls out that last leg. A big looping blowout over the tail and lets it down the porthole. Oh, Troy Piper's right on his heels. Digger Balm blow for blow with him. Up the neck and around the back of the head goes Alan Grant. John Hand changes a bit of gear. Halfway through the job when he brings out number 4. He hasn't let the brakes off just yet. Can he hang in there for the next 2? Big breaths as he went in the pen. Fills the lungs up and keeps the brain working. But Toa Henderson comes up over the top. There's been a lot of rain down in the Southland area this year, and he's probably had to shear in gumboots just to get the sheep dry. Into the first off shoulder he goes. Swinging for home. Lean, mean and hungry as he drops into the long blow. Out the last leg comes the Scotsman, Alan Grant. Digger Balm around the back of the head. Troy Piper starting to let the brakes off here on the front. But what have we got? 4 and 20 gone. Henderson to the top of the shoulder. Troy Piper 5 blows behind him. John Hand in the long blow. Digger Balm in the long blow this time, Norman.
Here, Digger Balm sucking some big breaths in as he turns for home on sheep number 4. 2 left in the pen. Troy Piper, though, finishing touches right there with Tor Henderson. Down over the tail they go together, and Tor Henderson changes steel there on stand number 4. Changes steel on stand number 1, and in and out they come with sheep number 5.
Might just dive in there.
Yeah,
Norm.
go for it, Gerald.
We've got the Goodges. It's 6 minute 08. The Gordons, quickest time, and the 2 youngsters were at 8:40. This is sensational, ladies and gentlemen. Born and bred. We've got 2 teams from Masterton, 2 sets of brothers. Running time now, 6 minutes 20. Ho, 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 ho. That's saying who signs the checks around the place, I can tell you that. As Conan the Barbarian says, holy smoke, we're still in this game. Did you say the Adams are 8 minutes? Yes. At the moment, physically, it looks like you're a wee way behind, but you're not really. Not on the clock. He lines up another little beauty. The two sets of brothers. It's been a great old battle. And, of course, both sets from Masterton here. So it's fantastic to see that. So once again, thank you so much to Farmlands for their continued support here and Woolpacks New Zealand. Back to you, Norm.
Yeah, so up on the board, Toy Henderson just chucks one out. Kerry, we must have another heat. One more heat. So this one, though, out comes Troy Piper and Dick Bump. So Dick Bump starting to pour on the gas this time as he winds his way down the belly. But Toy Henderson, talking about pouring on the gas, this man's overflowing, and he turns into the first cheek, up the back of the head now, and around into the first front shoulder. Top of the head coming off on stands 1 and 2. John Hand drops into the belly on sheep number 6. So the last sheep on the board for these guys, all except for Alan Grant. Alan Grant's still got to get his, but he won't be far away from heading into the pen. Just the last side to come off. Long blow time this time, and Troy Piper slamming up the backbone. Another shot, and he turns for home. So he's just pulled a couple of shots back on Toy Henderson and a couple of shots ahead of Digger Balm. So good strong finish from the man from North Canterbury, right out to the toe, right there with Toy Henderson this time. Toy Henderson, Troy Piper, Toy Henderson, Troy Piper it is as he hits the stop clock, and Toy Henderson finishing touches, bangs the clock as well. So it's time taken. Digger Balm over the tail, time clock stopped there. Well done, Dig. Down the last side for John Hand, the young man down there on the end. Sweeps out onto the back leg. Another couple of shots, and he'll be looking for the time clock as well, just as Alan Grant turns into the top of the head and up the neck. This John Hand can straighten his old back, sucking a bit of oxygen, and join the rest of the boys watching Alan Grant as he has the last say in heat number 14. Round into the long blow. Originally from Scotland, living in New Zealand now, this man. Way up the long blow, he sweeps and he steps across with his right leg, finishing touches. Ooh, he's going all right. He's firing the shots in, turning for home, cheeks off. Wee bit on top of the air, just keep those judges happy. Last front shoulder now for Alan Grant. And under the leg and away down the last side, he's going to head. A big thanks to Bailey's Real Estate. They're the sponsors of this event, so well done to Bailey's. Another couple of shots over the tail. Give them a hand, folks. That's heat number 14, done and dusted.
Right, we'll just dive in there. So Conan and his brother Shane, what was their time? We're at 9 minutes 15. And of course, Conan been on the stage numerous times, but Shane's first time. So that was a grand effort time-wise. Right, we're looking for 160 kgs.
We'll just get these guys up while you're away on that, Gerald. And it's the last heat to take the board in the open heats on stand number 5. We will have Herbie Kirkpatrick, please. From Taumarunui on stand number 4. Marshall Guy, also from Taumarunui, is Willie McSkimming on 3. Axel Reid from Waipawa on 2, and from Seddon, Angus Moore on 1. Gerald, how are those weights looking down there? Still weighing the second barrel by the look of it.
Good. You want to reweigh? Yeah, just while they're rolling, you're good? So, Jeremy Goodges and Vinnie Goodges bail. We're looking for 160, was 168. Okay, so they had a bit much juice. And Conan Harmon Gray and Shane Harmon, 156.5. So that's going to be really close when it comes down to the points. Once again, this year we are having the Peers final under the bright lights on Friday night. It'll be the festive first event up tonight. Yes. Coco Namana. You dot about, can you come down here, please?
Okay, we have a green light. Can we have the Shearers take the board? Looks like the referee's coming forward. It looks like we're pretty good to go, are we? Come on, Marshall. Just a bit worried at what Mr. Peter Rabbit's saying up there. He's starting to get some Australians on his side. That's a worry. There's plenty of rabbits in Australia too, you know. You hope you're not doing the old crossover sort of stuff. Don't pick on the commentators. That is the last thing you want to do if you're a judge. Yeah, Rabbit. Just waiting for a final decision on the judge there, the referee, Mr. Kevin Boyd. I don't know why. All right, get him out of there. I can see the colour of it. Wild Willie. Shearers to the door. You don't want to start with demerit points before you even throw your handpiece in the gear. Okay. Everybody happy? Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. This is the last one, heat number 15 in the Golden Shears Bailey Open Shear elimination round. We want the top 30. You've just seen Hemi Braddock is the unlucky one at the moment. Are these shearers going to change the order? They're keen as mustard because they entered first. That's why they're shearing last. So any chance they've got high hopes of themselves making it through. Angus Moore on the front stand from Seddon. Axel Reid from Waipawa on the 2. Willie McSkimming from Taramanui on the 3rd stand. Dropping into the long blow, or halfway through the long blow, Marshall Guy from up in the north from Kaio. And down the far end we have Herbie Kirkpatrick from Hastings. Just a little bit back off the pace at the moment, but he's going to just settle into it. He's probably thinking, I'm a little bit nervous up there. There's a lot of lights, there's a lot of people, and I just need to concentrate on this first one to keep it flat. But the pace is going to get away from him if he doesn't get into top gear pretty smartly, because out the last leg comes Angus Moore. Now Marshall Guy hitting the straps as well. Willie McSkimming and Axel Reid, 3 blows apart there between the first 4. Over the shoulder with the last side, Herbie Kirkpatrick. He'll be calling on all his experiences. He's down here for the 60th occasion. Can he make the most of it and get into the next round, Norman?
Yeah, well, hopefully he can. Herbie Kirkpatrick, shearing legend. If I had 1 cent for every sheep he's shorn in his life, I'd be a rich man, I tell you that. Real tough in the sheds. And over the tail he goes. Out the hole he drops and into the pen. Marshall Guy. This young guy got a ton of talent. Very, very talented youngster, this fella. Got a big future ahead of him. Round into the first front shoulder. Sweeps around in towards the long blow. Willie McSkimming, wild Willie McSkimming up there on the 3rd stand. Way through the long blow, he sweeps, wiping the wool off the backbone of the sheep. Another shot he's going to turn for home as Wild Willie down over the last front shoulder. Axel Reid, same for him, turning for home and down over the last front shoulder. Angus Moore, he's been there and done that as he winds out onto the back leg. Another couple of shots. He'll be looking for sheep number 3. He's going to be the first one to do so as he opens the door. Heads on in. Angus Moore backs out onto the pen. Another couple of shots and Axel Reid's going to join him as well. But Wild Willie and Marshall Guy head in and out of the pen as well. Turning for home is Herbie Kirkpatrick just as Axel Reid steps backwards with a sheep between his legs. Herbie Kirkpatrick down over the last front shoulder. He's going to be heading in for number 3 very shortly. But Angus Moore up the neck he steps. He's leading the field at this early stage. Still another 3 sheep left in the pen. Anything could happen yet, John. It only takes 1 kicky sheep.
Oh, these Wairarapa maidens, they can throw you about all right. They step up over the top. This is a big, powerful Axel Reed. Changed stable at the moment. He used to shear out of Tie Happy, but gone over to the Wairarapa, just down the road a little bit and around the corner. Marshall Guy. Seen this young fella come through the grades over the years, and he's just got better and better. Always had the quality. Now he's got the speed, and he's throwing the big steel at these sheep as he comes across the shoulder. He's picked up the Angus Moore on the front stand at the moment. Under the shoulder and down and out for McSkimming as well. Axel Reed to the top of the shoulder. Oh, Angus has got a bit of a dancer. It's going to be a Marshall Guy from Kyo next in for sheep number 4. Round the back of the head, and sheep number 3 is Herbie Kirkpatrick from Hastings. Down on the 5. Axel Reed will be the last to go in, the second to last to go in for the change of sheep now. Pulls up his strides and steps into the pen. There's a lot of weight in these sheep, and they can drag your pants down onto your hips and cause you a little bit of concern. Into the long blow now for Herbie Kirkpatrick. Little long way off the pace, and he's probably just thinking about, I've got to get through this. Round the back of the head comes Marshall Guy. Up the neck is Willie McSkimming. Angus Moores dropped back a couple of shots on this one as he had a bit of a dancer on that last side. Into the long blow he swings. Axel Reed's up the neck and breaks the wall apart. Around the back of the head and down into the first off shoulder, just as quick as I can speak, goes Willie McSkimming. Angus Moores at the top. He's taken the brakes off a little bit now on sheep number 4. 4.5 minutes are gone past. And these guys know that the time's been set at close just over 6. Out the last leg now comes the Kyo lad. Up on the front, it's going to be set and sneak into the pen first. Change of gear. He thinks, I'm going to put that fresh cut on. Try this other blade out. Under the shoulder now for the Axel Reed as he swings down and out to the flank. And goes McSkimming up on the main trunk line. He'll feel the big diesel coming into it shortly. Come from Tamarinu, he'll know about all the pace. Down the belly he swings. Axel Reed out with number 5. Looking pretty sharp though, that Marshall Guy and Angus Moore together up over the top, Norman.
Yeah, Marshall Guy's starting to step into it now as he swings around the back of the head. Just to get a hold of that air, and Angus Moore right there as well, but Marshall Guy swings around into the long blow now. Angus Moore does the same, so Angus Moore knows he's there, that's for sure. Way through the long blow they go together. Another couple of shots and they'll be turning for home. Angus Moore, perfectly peeled sheep. Down over the last front shoulder for both these shearers. And Axel Reed and Wild Willie McSkimming up around the back of the head. Into the first front shoulder for these two fellas. Herbie Kirkpatrick, now he's away through the long blow and turning for home.
Might just butt in there.
Yeah, go for it, Gerald.
Just looking for John Campbell. If he could come down here, if he's in the stadium, please, John Campbell, down to the pressing arena. Thanks, Norm.
Cheers, Gerald. So where were we up on the board anyway at some stage? Axel Reed, Wild Willie. They were blow for blow, but Axel's just poured a bit of gas on and just got a couple of shots away from Willie. Down onto the hind leg, over the tail he goes. But, Angus Moore, he's put the hammer down. He's just a couple of shots out from Marshall Guy as he works his way through sheep number 6, the final sheep on the final heat of the 2020 Golden Shears. Turning for home is Angus Moore down over the last front shoulder. Long blow time now for Marshall, so Angus Moore really swinging into it. Got the bit between his teeth. Slides down the back leg, right out to the toe. Good stylish fella, beautiful shearer. Very, very talented, very capable, and he hits the button in about 6:59, John.
Yeah, well, he did a pretty good shear. He had a little bit of a kicker there halfway through, but recovered. He's got away from Marshall Guy, who steams under the shoulder and down out to the flank. Working away out that last leg. Into the last side now turns Axel Reed, but Marshall Guy next to hit the button just a shade over 7. The Willie McSkimming had a little bit of trouble with his handpiece there. It just seems to bog up on sheep number 5. He said, crikey, what's happened to it? But he changed the steel, had a quick laugh at to the judge and said, back into it, and got his 6th and final sheep as Axel Reed hits the button, the lad from Wairarapa. Out the last leg, on down on the 6th, on the 5 stand, is Herbie Kirkpatrick. Rocks it out. Here he goes, he's got one left in the box.
Sorry, mates. Right, so this is the individual final of the women's sponsored event by Farmlands and Woolpacks New Zealand. On press 1, we have Emily T. Kappa from Scotland, a place called Lockenhead. From the place called The Block, Masterton, with a big love heart all around it, is Coco Namana. Here we go, folks. It's time. Press is ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go. We're looking for 150 kg bail. Who's going to take out the time points and the likes? We'll go back to the shearing commentators and we'll go from there. We'll let them get to their work.
Righto, here we go. It's Herbie Kirkpatrick, the last shearer. 15 heats are gone before us this afternoon of these open class shearers. We want 30 out of the 90-odd shearers. Down and out to the flank comes Herbie. Come on, he's doing it justice. He's loving his time on the sun up there. A beautiful, clean last side. Rocket out, Masterton. Give him a big round of applause. All those top competitors. We can't have a final without having a good number of competitors to select from. Awesome stuff.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us in this, the 60th anniversary of the Golden Shears and the celebration over the 4 days of competition. We appreciate your support of our competitors and, of course, the fact that you're just here anyway, having a look at this fantastic institution that the Golden Shears has become. Big thanks to our judges as they leave the stage. A big 4 days for all our shearing and wool handling judges, that's for sure. And I'd like you to just put your hands together for our wool handling team down the front. Thank you very much, girls and guys. They work very, very hard for 4 days. So, huge job. Well done.
Para mi gente, con una pasión tan fuerte. Ay, 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 ahora sigo cantando y sigo gozando, yo sigo cantando y sigo gozando.
Property. It's one of the most fiercely competitive markets in New Zealand. And that's why we at Bailey's continue to work to rise above the competition. We pride ourselves on being better, on doing our best to build on our hard-earned reputation every day. Since 1999, we've had a dedicated team of country experts whose skills and know-how have made us leaders in the field. We represent every sector of the rural landscape, from large-scale farms, stations, forestry, vineyards and specialty rural properties to lifestyle blocks and homes in the country. And we treat every single one with our legendary professionalism and integrity, whatever the scale. No one knows this market quite like us. We go above and beyond, time after time, day after day, year after year, to achieve the best possible results for our clients. That's why we're the nation's #1 rural real estate brand. Bailey's Country. We're altogether better.
Our bodies are the tool that make us our money, you know, like that's what's making me my money, is me going to work and shearing sheep. And if I can't look after my body and if I don't you know, go to the mechanics every now and then and get a tune up and just look after things, and then it's not going to work for very long. You blow your wrist, you might be out for 3 weeks. you know, and that might be the busiest time of your year when you're out. So you spend half an hour watching these videos and doing a bit of research on it and doing the exercise and stuff. You might save yourself, 3 weeks off work or whatever, and make yourself a bit stronger in a weak point.
We have got a history of injuries and perhaps not looking after ourselves. There's now tools available, and tahi na tahi is one of them, where you can get that education without too much grief.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you've been in the game 5 minutes or 50 years, you're always learning, and tahi na tahi just reiterates that fact.
The tahi na tahi program, one of the great things about it is we get a little paranoid about maybe being in a group, and so I mean you can go online in your own time and sift through it and take what you want out of it or what you may need.
Well, tahi na tahi, from my point of view, is going to be pretty good for our younger shearers coming through the industry. They're looking after them, they're teaching them.
There's a lot of kids out there that they're not too sure what they want to do, but you can make good money, travel. This is a pretty cool lifestyle if you can get up at 5 o'clock every morning and work hard. If you can do that, which a lot of kids out there can, I think we can definitely, there's a lot more people out there that would suit the industry.
Yeah, tahi na tahi will help with our staff recruitment, just letting people know that we are looking out for them. It is a safe place to work. The more we use it, the better it'll get.
For me, it was a good refresher. All those things in those videos you actually forget about. Yeah, I fit it in on the days off. I'm a busy man myself. I like being out on the hill hunting, out on the beach diving. But I use it as a tool to remember things that I forgot throughout my career. It's actually real good to have, to be honest. Yeah.
It makes it easier. If you can share easier, you can share more, and nobody likes doing it hard. Tahi na tahi is really easy to use. It's all online, and it's really simple. Everyone can understand it. It doesn't take too long.
I think it will benefit rural communities by lifting the standard of work in the wool shed in terms of injury prevention, because there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration when people get injured. So if you can remove all that and people can just get on with the job, which is what we all want to do, without having to get people to fill in and all that sort of thing. So I think it'll really lift productivity in the workplace in the rural communities. Get on board with tahi na tahi, sign up. It's as easy as knowing your name and your email address.
Shout out to tahi na tahi, thank yous for what you guys are doing. Get on tahi na tahi and check it out.
Head over to www.tahinatahi.co.nz and sign up for your free health and safety certificate.
They wanted a bit more entertainment, so we had art competitions, maker models, all these sort of things. But that was only Wairarapa. In the Wairarapa, it wasn't getting out. And somebody said, there's a Miss Golden Shears, there's a Miss New Zealand thing. What would be the possibility of getting a girl in that? Because we didn't have a Miss Wairarapa and everybody else had these things. Anyway, at one young farmers meeting, I remember we discussed it. And Alan Williams and I put our hands up and said, we'll see what we can do about it. Well, who do you go to see about it? There was a lady that lived down the Te Pārai Road that happened to know a little bit about Miss Golden Shears, about Miss New Zealand contest, because she'd been a Miss New Zealand. So we went down and saw Gay this night, Alan and I, and she looked at us and she said, I'm not too sure about this, she said. You're trying to chew a big one off here. And we knew ourselves that we couldn't do it. But she was pretty well in with the Browns and everything else. And she rang us up a month later and said, yes, they're willing to give you a go. What we wanted, we didn't want a Miss Wairarapa, we wanted a Miss Golden Shears. And by this time, TV was the in thing. And I mean, if we could get a Miss Golden Shears, one of those 12 or 14 girls walking across the stage, where the hell's this Miss Golden Shears come from? That's what we looked at. And they said, oh, well, give it a go. So we had eliminations that first year. And I think Murray will agree with me here that Les Field had a big put into that first year. In fact, he landed up marrying one of the contestants that year, or a year or so later. That was number one, the luck we had. The second one was, because once it came up, everybody said, well, you know, what the hell are they going to get? You know, bloody some stupid wool-handling girls or something. Well, we put a line-up of about 12 girls there, and the winner of that competition went on to be runner-up for Miss New Zealand that particular year, and that was our big thing. I think if we hadn't have done well in their first couple of years, they'd have probably come to us and said, well, look, we're not too well. And that was 1971, and Janine Morales got runner-up, and I've heard from one or two since then that they believe that perhaps she should have won it, to be quite honest, that year. So that set us up for the next 19 years of Miss Golden Shears. Wool, believe it or not, in those days, wool was actually worth some money. And so you grew wool right down to, and if you could get it growing out their nostrils, well, you did that too. And we wonder why it perhaps took 21 minutes to shear those sheep. When I first got involved, really got involved, was in 65. I've been involved a little bit with young farmers. Was the wet year 65, but I can remember Alan Precious said that he came down to shear in the seniors in 1965, and there were 262, I think, senior shearers. In 1965, we had the perfect farmer's autumn. The Thursday before Golden Shears, it started to rain, beautiful drizzly rain, and it just kept raining and raining. And by Sunday night, I think the one or two of the people from the hierarchy were getting a little concerned. And on Wednesday morning, to my knowledge, and I'm sure Laurie will stop me if I'm wrong here, but it's the only time that we've drawn real wet sheep at Golden Shears. They were wet, and that's when I really perhaps got quite involved with Golden Shears. I went in on the Wednesday morning to see what was going on in there, to see how they were handling these wet sheep, and there was one of the committee members, a chap by the name of Brian Newton, said, what are you doing in here? And I said, well, I've just come to see how you're handling the situation. He said, I've got a job for you. And I spent the next 3 days down at the showgrounds. And what they did was bring wet sheep in. And when I mean they were wet sheep in there. And we put them under the showgrounds. Unfortunately, it was an easterly. There was no wind. So they came in there saturated. And 6 hours later, we put them on the truck to send them to the stadium. And they were still 80% wet. And all that wool went straight to Borthwick. However, we were lucky enough on the Friday afternoon, it did clear. That was, 8 days after it had started. And I managed to get some of them out into the paddock. So for the open quarters, we didn't have 30 in those days, the open quarters, that Friday night or whenever it was, they had, the wool was still, I think the outside was probably dryish, and by Saturday they were dry enough to thing, but those first Wednesday and Thursday and Friday morning, the sheep were very, very wet. I said, what are you going to do with these? So what I was doing was putting 3 in a pen, and it'd been a lot of in the sheep pens, and been alright if it'd been a good breeze, but there was no breeze or anything. So we're putting them in there, and 6 hours later I was taking them out. And on Thursday morning, they bought a gun drive. And if any of you know, well, you all know the showgrounds reasonably well, and we blocked we shifted a small mob of about 100 and put them in between the cattle pens where they keep the cattle there, and blocked the end up and put them there and put the blower on them. And I don't know why somebody hadn't thought of this before, to be quite honest. Fantastic. They turned the blower off after 1 minute and looked, and all these lovely white sheep had gone black. Well, I mean, all it did was just blow the dust into the... Well, that wasn't very successful. That afternoon they put some on a truck and took them down to the aerodrome and back the aerodrome behind an aeroplane, but that didn't really... I mean, you can imagine trying to get sheep dry. It was a pretty hopeless cause. People, and I'd just like to reiterate what Edwin and Laurie said, the people that set that up initially had great forethought. I mean, the complex of the thing has changed a little bit, but I mean, very, very little. You tell me any other thing that's only changed 20%.
Guys, we've got it pretty professional about it. They have tallies they want to hit, and you know, they generally just work to that tally, and well, they know how to do it. If they can set themselves at a pace where they know they'll be within 1 or 2 sheep, it's bloody impressive how they do that, I reckon. I mean, it's bloody hard work though. I mean, they're running a marathon every day.
My main message to farmers would be good toilets, good facilities, maintenance, keeping the maintenance up for everybody. That includes like catching pen gates and holes in walls and springs on doors. It's just common sense stuff. That's all shearers want.
When I was still shearing, I walked into a shed one night about 9 o'clock down in Hunterville, and the place was just gleaming, and it was polished, and everything was just gleaming in the shed. It was the first time I'd been there, and I thought to myself, sure, got to do a good job here, mate.
Business, it's all about the people. If we don't have good people, well trained, with good facilities, good resources and clean operating going forward, put stress on them, all of a sudden they might get injured or something might go wrong there, then I'm left high and dry because I don't have people running a business.
It was so popular that the days after that we went to Federated Farmers, or they did, Laurie and Ian Douglas went to Federated Farmers and said we must get this bigger. And it just grew from that, yeah. The popularity of competition shearing. It was always around in the earlier days, but never as fine-tuned as it was in the late 50s, early 60s. Young farmers then went to Federated Farmers, who are a bigger body, financially a little bit better off too, and the president of Federated Farmers and Roy O'Hara took over organising what they called Golden Shears. They had demonstrations in town of shearing competitions, and it grew from that. And all of a sudden, that Federated Farmers were, of course, 50% ownership of it, if you like, or members. So it went from strength to strength, and I think possibly it was nationwide. People came from far afield to it in them days. When you look back at the old numbers of people coming across from the South Island, huge. But I think possibly it was a new innovation to have a professional, and Golden Shears were really the first to start off, shall we say, a professional competition, doing things right to the book as such. And more or less today, it's right to the book at Golden Shears after 60 years. It moved in 61 to be in the stadium. Yeah, they had the shearing in front of the Queen and Prince Philip in the hut. That was a demonstration. And then after that, it was in the stadium when it was on TV, and people sat in the swimming baths and watched it on TV. Goodness me, yeah. And everyone was smoking. Not everyone, but a big number was smoking in there, and there was smoke everywhere, and the smell of sheep and that in the stadium. But they came back next year and the next year. But it just sort of revolutionised the shearing world. Godfrey was a big help. Godfrey did commentaries on the radio on the first few years, live commentaries of all the heats on radio. When you were out in the farm or wherever, you turned into 2ZB as it was, or 2XB, and I think in them days, you turned on to the radio, and you would say he was up to heat such and such, and he mentioned the ones in that heat, which it was great, really. The volunteers there put in, and they built, with the help of Reg Shoki, built the shearing board, and it was much bigger, the stadium, because we judged the sheep outside then, so there was more seating. I think the figures of 2,100 seating at the stadium in them days, whereas today it's a lot less. But the sheep was something that was provided voluntary by everyone, and it was a voluntary service. Many outfits in the town volunteered their services. But in them days, there was 60 million sheep, 70 million. There's half that today. So there's half the competitors. I had a bit to do with quite a few things. And the sheep that were supplied by a farmer were prepared days or weeks before. They cleaned the crutch out and selected them, and they were kept separate. And this farmer had 2 lots of sheep, ones that weren't prepared, and some shearing gang went out there to shear some sheep that were sent out there and actually shore the sheep that were supposed to come into Golden Shears, which caused a bit of a kerfuffle, but never mind, it all worked out in the end. There was a stage there where the door came open in a wool shed and the sheep got out and it was pouring with rain and the sheep got wet outside. The show still went on, and I can recall when we had 4 inches of rain, we couldn't get sheep in from the Wongahu, Malcolm Brown's farm, and the river had come up, they couldn't get the trucks in there. We knew that night at 6 o'clock, John Ramsden was the sheep officer, and we rang around, and Massey Riverside had 600 sheep for shearers to practice on, trade shearers. So I rang Smith, the manager, and at 6 at night, and said, any chance of using those sheep? We had to prepare them. So we crutched them at 5 in the morning, and at 8 in the morning they were being shorn in the stadium. And it was pouring with rain. That's when we had 6 or 7 inches of rain. So the show carried on, even if the numbers were dropped back a little bit. And it's all about people packing in to help one another. There has been characters there at the shearing. There has been characters, and I suppose tend to go back when they had bets on, and they had half a bottle of whiskey in the changing room, and they drank that before they got up there to see who was going to be first off. As such, they're much more stringent today. But in them days, it was okay. People were getting up in bare feet. And today we've got the appropriate dress and what have you. Yeah, someone came into the stadium and said there's a sheep on the roundabout. That's only 15-20 years back. Yeah, the door came open on the back of the truck and the sheep got out. And we've been bringing for years, mariners from the South Island, Alexandria, huge cost, just to put a special event on. And okay, they are the best and the finest wool from merinos in the world, merino sheep, so it's great having them on display as such. I think Blatchford was the show president, and he came in with a case of 6 flagons of beer. And we had done such a good job, he came back with another 6. So we all slept in the sheep yards that night. But that was originally, to me, that was right at the beginning of the competition. There's such a change in the competition scene. Everyone who was there helping ended up being on Golden Shears. I wasn't on the committee until the mid-60s, but I was a volunteer as such. And I've been around now, and I've been in New Zealand for 67 years. And when you get back to the UK, they'll see you're a colonial, aren't you? Yeah. They were allowed alcohol if you had a keg of beer or whatever there for lunchtime, and they filled themselves up on a bit of a beer, and then they're expected to get back on the shearing board and judge at the competition. Doesn't happen today. It's more stringent today, which is good.
Of course, there was no wool stores or anything like that in the Wairarapa at that stage when Golden Shears started. So and all the wool was fadged up, because the wool check to a farmer back in the 60s was his biggest check. It wasn't the meat industry like it is today. So the wool was that was important. It was real important that wool was looked after and looked after properly. And so it used to be fadged up. The organisers of the wool would have to find a shed somewhere in Masterton, and they'd put would get a press from Donald's Wool Presses, who were the manufacturers and wool presses in the Wairarapa, and would take it into the shed, and the wool would be put on a vehicle outside the stadium, carted round to wherever the press was put, and there was 2 guys that'd be there pressing the wool for the whole week. And on Sunday, of course, you'd press all Saturday night's wool, and then that wool had to be trucked to Wellington. So you'd have to find some means. Norwoods had an old tractor with a bucket on it, and we'd go round to Norwoods and pinch their tractor and load the wool out. You'd load it out. You'd do a load on, at least a load Friday morning. Sometimes you had to do a load early and a second load to get rid of it, because in those days we were shearing over 5,000 sheep, which was a lot of sheep, a lot of wool. And so that wool all had to be kept separate, and it had to be consigned to the wool stores in Wellington. And so you had to have it, organise the trucks, get the wool, keep it all separate for each individual farmer, and then have it trucked out. So there was a lot of work involved, but now, of course, in recent years, we've managed to get a press into the stadium for a start. I did a bit of work to get that organised, and we had a press at the back of the stadium, which meant we didn't have to drag these fadges and ship them out, which we could just ship the bales out. But now, of course, we've managed to get a press and get access out to the back of the stadium, so the wool comes off the stage, out to the backs, pressed up in the stadium, and there's wool stores in Masterton now where you just truck it up and put it in the local wool store. So from where the amount of labour and work that there was, it's certainly been reduced to where we are today. We started off, because young farmers, we always ran, we put a stage out in front of the board and had tables there, area we could put tables there for the young farmers, because young farmers ran the Friday night. And we used to do the young farmers wool handling, and that was always done. But that stage had to come down on Friday night because they needed more seats to go in. So there was no room to run a open wool handling competition like it is today. Some of us got together and decided we could run a wool handling competition for the open grade. So yeah, then it was accepted. We put it to the committee, and they and ahed and eventually accepted it. And we ran a competition in wool sheds. We started out at Jimmy Williams for a couple of years, and then we went up to Riverside and ran it there. And then we just brought the finals into the stadium. And then eventually we talked the committee into leaving the stage there so we could run the competition in the stadium. And I'll never forget the first year. After about the second year we held it at the stadium, we got 100 entries in the wool handling. And to me that was quite something, because at that stage some of the shearing entries were starting to drop off a little bit, and to have this wool handling, and that brought all those people back into the stadium, and they were all entrants then, and it really made, and since then it's grown from strength to strength, and the wool handling now is a pretty strong competition. And then that's when we went to, Gavin and I actually went to Australia. I went to Australia twice to convince the Aussies to come over here and compete in an Aussie. We already had the shearing test with Australia, but we never had any wool handling. And we went to Armidale 2 years in a row, where they held their competition that year, and convinced them over there to send a team. And since then we've had an Australian New Zealand test in the wool handling, which is, quite an achievement, I believe. When we had the Worlds, we ran Perrindales for one of the Worlds, but that was back in 82, I think. And then other breeds of sheep, it's once they got what they call the national competition, which is where you have Merinos, Sean and Alexander, you've got Balclutha with the long wools, you've got Corridales at Christchurch, and then you've got lambs and second shear, so you've got all breeds, and we shear all breeds here at Golden Shears for the final, and that's where the final of that national event's held, is here at Golden Shears. And so, so we now bring Corridales down from Hawke's Bay, bring the Merinos, as has been said earlier, up from Alexander. We find lambs locally and second shear locally. So we have the mixed breeds in that national event, which is to me, the ultimate shearer that can shear all those breeds and compete over 15 sheep of those breeds, which is good.
I'm here with Alan from Trust House at the Grill, Solway Park, one of the many venues owned by Trust House. Alan, tell us about some of the amazing other venues that contribute back to the community by being part of the Trust House family.
We have a number of businesses throughout the region. We have the Flax and Flaxmere up in Hawke's Bay. In Pahiatua, we have the Post Office Hotel. Here in Masterton, we have the Farriers Bar and Eatery. We also have Jackson Street Bar and Kurapuni Tavern and TAB, as well as, of course, the famous Apache Jack's restaurant. Here today, we're in the very famous flagship of Trust House, the Copthorne Resort, Solway Park. In South Wairarapa, we have the Pukimano Bar and Bottle O, and we also have the E10 restaurant in Martinborough. In Purirua, we have Legend Sports Bars, and we also have some gaming interests in the tower as well.
And it's not just venues and hospitality. What other community assets does Trust House own?
Yeah, we also own a renewable energy programme over in Kururau and with the Wairarapa, and that's a Kururau hydro scheme.
I had no idea Trust House was behind that. So how does the community benefit?
In so many ways. We provide employment and training for over 200 staff. And of course, all the surplus profits that Trust House generates goes back to the communities in which we trade.
So when you're supporting a Trust House venue, you really are directly supporting your community. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Masterton is so beautiful. We have a spring in the centre of town.
Cheers! People really care about keeping Masterton beautiful.
Let's test it out.
Masterton likes to make old places look like new. Check out our new village green in First Street. Masterton has the best recreation centre where you can swim, play
and stay fit.
Masterton has the best public toilets in our beautiful park.
To you. Sorry.
Masterton has the best recreation trails for riding your bike.
We're just enjoying the outdoors.
Sometimes after all that hard work, you just need to kick back and relax.
This is my favourite place in the whole world. So beautiful. Even the Chef Epic Islands are beautiful.
Masterton is beautiful because we keep making gardens for people to enjoy.
don't have any traffic lights. And we like to make our roundabouts reach for the sky. Did I mention that at Masterton it likes building new playgrounds? Masterton must be beautiful, because everyone wants to come here. Masterton has the best places for walking your dog. Mr. Dog, why do you think Masterton is beautiful? The Hendy Lake Trust really look after this beautiful place. Masterton, the mayor helps make our town beautiful. This is Mia. I think over there would be a great place for a playground.
That's a great idea, Jamie. Let's see what we can do.
Check out these other cool projects all over Masterton. To ask some of our friends why they think Masterton is beautiful. There's a lot of cultural diversity in Masterton.
It's a tight community and everyone knows each other.
There's everything that we need in Masterton.
They were surrounded by so much native bush and reserves.
We have a friendly and welcoming community. There's a lot of sports and education opportunities.
Masterton is beautiful because this is our view every day. I wonder where I have to see you to get a playground up there.
Masterton is a beautiful place!
That's it, it's decided. Masterton is the most beautiful place in New Zealand.